I need a motion, a second, to move into public session.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to ask everyone to stand, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence afterwards. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Christine, can you do the roll call, please?
Ms. Ogalis.
Present.
Ms. Panico.
Here.
Ms. Kennedy.
Present.
Mr. Napolitano-Ferno.
Present.
Mr. Warshaw.
Present.
Dr. Adams.
Present.
Mr. Kolahifar.
Present.
Mrs. Manzi.
Present.
Mrs. Poppy.
Present.
Mrs. Dillaria.
Present.
Ms. Hutchinson.
Present.
We have Gary present as well.
Oh, Mr. Stefanetta.
Yes, good evening, folks.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Are we amending or changing these minutes and coming back to it, tabling?
You gotta table them.
Okay, we're tabling the minutes for the February 25th, 2020 meeting.
Okay.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I see we have somebody from student government. Would you like to speak? Please speak it. And if you want to speak at the podium. Good evening, Adam. How are you tonight?
Good evening.
There's really nothing major going on in the school. We have our spring egg hunt coming up in the next few weeks. Other than that, student government has no report tonight.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to new business. First item is historical and projected enrollment. Dr. Adams?
No. Okay. All right, so we've reached the part of the budget cycle where, as a school district, we put together a presentation on the enrollment, both current and projected, and where we stand fiscally in the creation of the new budget. So as you can see from the slide, our actual and projected enrollment, we had a 2018 BOE study. They gave us this information. The enrollment numbers have changed since 2007-8, which seems like a very long time ago, which was at 6,961 students. We are currently sitting at an enrollment of 5,511 students. The numbers that are actually in blue are from the BOE study as a projection moving forward, taking into account the birth rates in Suffolk County, the transitional rates between people moving in and moving out, the houses being sold. So the blue numbers to the right are projected. We are looking at a decrease a little bit for next year, and I will show you those numbers here on this slide. So the projection enrollment decrease over the next 8 years will be to 4,764 students. This year's projected change is about 90 students between what we currently have, 153 students between what we currently have enrolled and the expectation of the enrollment for next year. So historically, the tax levy has a tax cap calculation. So for the past 5 years, this is the tax levy calculation and what the Board of Education has put out for tax raises for the community. So if you'll see in 15-16, the actual tax levy limit was calculated at 1.63%. The board presented to the public a 1.25%. That leaves $450,000 on the table, which is not collected from the taxpayers. As Mrs. Donnelly said every single year, that compounds moving forward, and I will show you what that looks like and where we are currently in our budgeting cycle, what if we had gone to the tax levy cap at each one of these years, we would see. In 2016-17, the tax levy limit calculation was 0.08%. The actual tax levy limit that the board went out to the public asked for that 0.08%. So there was no money left on the table that year, but this compounds from the 450 into that year, which would be another 0.08 on that, and I will show you that in the next slide. The year after that, the tax levy limit calculation was 1.16%. The actual levy limit that the board asked the public to support was 1.16%. In the year 2018-19, the levy limit was 3.87%. The board asked the public to consider a 0% increase. That left $4.733 million uncollected that could have been collected in tax dollars. And last year's tax levy limit calculation was 4.79%. The actual tax that the board considered to put out to the public was 2.9, once again leaving $2.312 million on the table that was not collected by the taxes. Some of these decisions were made in light of the controls report, which occurred about 4 years earlier, that said that we had an excess of fund balance and therefore we should decrease the tax levy. So some of these decisions were made with that in mind. Over time, though, this compounds, which was something that Mrs. Donnelly made sure we heard over and over again. So if you look across the years on the bottom, that first year we had $450,000 left behind. That would have equated to $486 in the next budget year. After that, we had $494 in the next budget year. That adds to the $4.7 million that was left on the table when the board considered a 0. And in this year's budget, adding all those together, it would have been a $7.811 million difference in the actual budget. I'm sorry. So unfortunately, that is what we look at as our revenue moving forward. We are one of the few school districts on Long Island where the state aid has actually decreased. Prior to the 18-19 school year, we were getting small increases in each year, but in the last 2 school years, we have gotten a decrease in state aid coming from the state education department. So our decrease last year was at $533,686. This year's proposed decrease, and this is out of the latest budget statement, there usually is a little bit of movement moving toward the end of the budgeting cycle where we get maybe a little bit more, but in lieu of the amount of money that the state is spending right now on fighting the coronavirus, all bets are off whether or not that would come up or potentially even go down. But right now, we're looking at a change from state aid from last year to this year of a negative $708,329. So you can see on the right-hand side that our state aid has gone down in the past 3 years. So if you add that to the fact that we didn't go out for the tax cap, there's actually a decreased revenue that could have happened about $8.7 million moving into the next tax year, so the next budgeting cycle. So here we are in the budgeting cycle for the 2021 school year. The proposed expenditure budget that was gathered by all the administration, looking at maintaining programs, making sure that we had all the materials, equipment, and supplies that they felt were needed. The actual original draft budget was $203,013,859. At the last board meeting, if you were here, you saw that the board said that we could go to the tax cap, which at this point the calculation is 3.1%. That would yield a revenue of $1,990,437,938, which is the difference from the original draft budget of $3.575921. So we go through a process. The process is the administrative cabinet sits down, we go line by line, We look at actual expenditures over the course of the last few years versus what was proposed by all the administrative staff. We determine if the spending is essential or non-essential. We begin to cut non-essential spending because we have a deficit to make up. We look to determine if there are projects that could be pushed off into the future, things like buying new furniture and things along those lines. And we look line by line at each one of the expenditures to see if there are cuts that can be made. The second part of the process is we determine, which is what we've done for the past 5 years, whether retirements need to be replaced because the enrollment warrants it, or if there are retirements, we can lose those positions by attrition, which is what this administration has done for the past 5 years. And we compare staffing to the budget guidelines. So these are the processes that we go through in every budget. So 2 days after the last board meeting, the administrative cabinet sat down. We looked line by line. We proposed some cuts to administration. We decreased some of the equipment codes. We decreased some of the non-essential spending, like replacing of certain furniture. And we looked to see whether or not there were certain retirements that could be accessed by attrition rather than hurting other people. That came out to a 1.616987 cut, which leaves us with a draft proposed expenditure budget of $201,396,872, with the current revenue projection at $199,437,938. We have a difference to make up of $1.958934. So the next step of the process is to look at the budget guidelines, to look to make sure that our class sizes sit in the ranges here, and then propose to the board what might those cuts look like. At this point, the board has not met to discuss those cuts. Part of our discussion in executive session for this time and the next time will be what those cuts might look like in order for us to get almost $2 million worth of cuts, all based on enrollment changes, enrollment decreases, and whether the class sizes actually fit into that 24 range that is part of the discussion. And that's where we are.
So just to clarify, the board did not make any cuts yet at all whatsoever.
Correct.
We just heard about it tonight. We did not make it.
Thursday.
Well, but that was through Facebook. We heard
Right,
about it
through social
officially
media.
tonight.
We heard about it though.
Yeah.
So, Reza, another rumor that's floating around on Facebook, have you administered any pink slips?
No.
Very difficult to hear.
Can you start with the mic system?
Thank you. Reza, did you administer any pink slips?
No.
Did you have a conversation with the particular units in regard to this potential proposal?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
But again, not with the board.
Was the board aware of this? Was the board aware of this until today?
I know the board was spoken to today.
Okay, so at any point in your conversations with these units, did you anyway associate that to armed guards?
No.
Any questions from the
Well,
board?
I want to clarify that. So if armed guards, I'll turn on my microphone,
We
even though
took
I'm
armed
pretty loud.
guards off. Do we still need to make cuts?
Yes, based on enrollment.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, any other questions? Lee, did you have a question? Okay, so now we're going to move on to...
cuts or not?
Excuse me, you don't answer questions from the audience. There will be a public participation time, then you can come up to the podium. But you cannot answer questions from the audience, screaming out like that. So thank you. Any other
Why can't
discussion?
we just answer that?
No. No.
Why can't we-
They're gonna come to the podium when it's time. It's our meeting. We have to have our discussion. If we allow one
I
conversation,
know,
then
but
there's
we
gonna be multiple.
just explained the way it was explained about the cuts being applied to enrollment, that no matter what, you have to bring the class sizes up to the budget lines. Why can't you just tell them that? That's the truth.
When push comes to shove, it's not gonna be the amount. It's not gonna be the number that people heard. It's not gonna be.
If there was no armed guards in there, if there's no budget line for that whatsoever, our enrollment is still decreasing. Didn't you explain to us that no matter what, the enrollment is decreasing and the class sizes can't be at 10 to 1 or 15 to 1, that you have to move the class sizes up to the budget guidelines?
Correct.
So that's the answer.
Correct.
So that's not a problem, we could just answer that question.
They asked if there was, they asked though.
Right, so we're saying if it's not in there, it's not in there, it doesn't matter. The class sizes can't be 10 to 1, they have to
The
be,
numbers that they heard are rumors though.
There are rumors, that's correct. The board has not
The
considered,
board is not
the board
approved
has
any.
not
Any
considered
cuts.
any cuts at this moment. We are in that part of the phase of the budget where we look at staffing. We go to the budget guidelines and we present the board with the budget guidelines and what those classes look like at this moment, currently seated and enrolled classes. So we're also projecting into the future how many teachers we would need to make sure that the budget guidelines are met, which are those class sizes that were approved by the board a few board meetings ago. And that's been the same budget guidelines for the last few years. The numbers have decreased significantly. We do have quite a few classes that are enrolled with average class sizes of 15, 16, 18, 19 on the secondary campuses. And we are looking at all of those classes with the board. At this moment, the board has not been presented with the amount of cuts that would be needed to do that. That's a discussion that happens with the board.
So Linda, I have a difference of 3.575921. Were you able to reduce that number?
Yes, we reduced it $1.61 million with administrative cuts, with cuts to the line-by-line budget, and with the retirements that would not need to be replaced due to the decreasing enrollment.
can I have a list of those cuts?
Sure.
So Linda, after those first draft cuts, where are you left at now as a difference?
That was on the second
It's
to
on
last
there.
slide that I showed.
It's there.
The difference is $1.95 million. $1,958,934.
So is there a way that you can dig deeper into the budget without potentially any significant layoffs?
Are you asking me if I can find $2 million without bringing the budget guidelines and the class sizes due to enrollment? I would suggest that that would be a one-shot deal, and that we'd be looking at layoffs again next year, because we have enrollment where our class sizes in many of our subject areas, in many of our classes, are way below the 24 on the secondary guidelines.
Okay, but we like the classes smaller. We've had this
Yeah.
discussion.
We do like
We
the
said that
classes
we
smaller.
like them at a good 18, 19, 20. When I ran for the board, I ran on small class sizes. I came here for years and years and complained about class sizes. Because we have children that are undiagnosed and we don't know if they have issues until you have them in a class. And now a teacher has got 6 or 7 kids that don't have 504s, don't have any issue, don't have any paperwork for it, but they're still difficult kids. I know one might be mine. So, not for nothing, but you can't keep saying that 24 is the average class size. Maybe for a middle school or high school if the kids are all elite, but definitely not for elementary school. Definitely not. I will definitely vote that down.
So that is the discussion that the board has to have. Linda, her responsibility is to present to us what she feels is, as a conversation with her cabinet, what she can do with the budget. Then it's up to the board to decide the recommendations that she makes, what recommendations we accept, which ones we don't, which ones we tell her to go back to the drawing board, which ones can you find different ways to save our
But
money.
here's the thing. I only got the budget on, what were we getting, Friday? Friday by messenger. I've had 2 days after being on the board for 8 months to rip apart a budget. I've asked for all the BOCEs breakdown. I want line by line, I want every single thing. I want to see every dollar where it's going. Because to look at a budget and just see millions of dollars going somewhere with no line by line to tell us what it is, how do you cut that or not cut that? How do I know if any money's hidden there? I don't know.
I think, was anything in this paper?
I asked, they said they can get it from me next week or in a
Oh,
week or
okay,
two.
okay.
But I
And I'm
don't
saying
think
that, so we can't make those cuts now anyway. We would need to actually explore them.
Definitely, that's what the thing is. She makes the recommendation, and it's up to the board to decide, yes, no, you have to go.
No, but
through those.
I want the audience to know that we were unaware that this was how we were gonna get to this number. We were unaware. We were
The
never
only thing
told.
we were aware of that there was a deficit, we didn't know how extreme the deficit was.
Right. Well, I thought that we had plenty of money, was what was told to me in May of last year.
Bridget, I was told that we got the email that had the 3-year comparison that I've been asking for, I don't know, quite some time, probably before you even got on the board. And that email was sent, I don't have a copy of those. I'm looking through my emails now, there's
What
nothing.
she did was she put it all the years on one Excel,
In the same big budget document.
in the same big budget document.
Where is that? Was I copied on that? I don't have that email. I just looked up your name. I have nothing from that. It says,
Look at Bridget, 'cause
I have it,
just
there's no
saw it-
attachments that have anything that says budget on it.
I saw it yesterday.
Yesterday, I got one from
Oh,
3:54
no,
today.
yesterday, yeah, yesterday, right? All I know is at 2:30 in the morning, I was ripping apart the budget.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I was on the phone with you at 1. We were doing it at 1.
I was ripping
I got
apart-
nothing. Can you please re-forward me that email so I can see it?
Yes, I'm doing it now.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we talking about the 2020 proposed expenditures? That's postponed, okay. All right, moving on to planning for interruptions due to the COVID-19.
Oh, we're done with the budget discussion?
I don't know,
now?
did you want to?
Wait, we have one more thing.
I have, yeah, one more thing. I mean, we did talk about this. We want, the little people,
The boots on the ground, we're not looking to
I'm not
cut
looking
all
to cut
boots on the
teachers
ground.
and boots
That
on the
affects
ground,
children.
lunch ladies, that kind of thing.
There does not need to
We
be
gotta start from the
15,
top.
an assistant, super, assistant to assistant, director to the assistant, director to the assistant to the assistant. I know, it's correction.
And like I mentioned, she makes the recommendation, her and her cabinet makes the recommendation, then it's up to board to
So
look
what
at
happens
the.
if she doesn't recommend cutting the top?
Then
She
then you-
hasn't recommended anybody in her cabinet, so I want to know that.
I'm talking
I mean,
about.
I'm just saying. If we're doing what's the board, you gotta be ready.
So when the recommendations are made to the board, you can say yes, yes, no. Oh, wait a minute, you forgot this.
Okay,
We come back and we give our counter to that.
thank you.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Come back and give the
Thank you,
counter.
Marlon.
Are we having another meeting, are we calling the next meeting?
Lee, we can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can have it.
Okay,
I was just asking if we were calling for an extra meeting, because I think we definitely need one.
okay, is there any more discussion on this particular thing?
Nope. Now I'm good with that. Thank
item. Okay. Now we're moving on to planning for the interruptions due to the COVID-19. John Allen, I believe, you're heading up this discussion?
So I appreciate the opportunity.
John.
It's only a couple slides. So I appreciate the opportunity to come in front of everybody and speak as to what we are doing and what we have been doing over the last couple of weeks since this outbreak has gotten a little bit closer to home to everybody. Center for Disease Control, the CDC, the Center for the Disease Control has come out with a series of guidance documents over the past couple of weeks. It is constantly being updated. My hope is to be able to share the practices as to what we're doing at a building by building level to give a little bit of peace of mind. CDC has come out with some simple, very basic recommendations. Those could be found at the link that's there. Believe it or not, their recommendations at this point call for routine cleaning of frequently touched spaces. That's typically the hard surfaces throughout a building. Bathrooms, light fixtures, tiled surfaces, lockers. There's obviously a whole lot of other places that are impacted as well. I'll get into those individually, but this is really the language from the CDC, those hard surface areas. They also talk about the idea of providing disposable wipes, so that if there's a concern or a need to wipe down areas individually throughout the day, we have an opportunity to do that. Something that's not so easy to do, because they're talking about disinfecting wipes. Most disinfecting wipes have a kill time to be effective of 10 minutes. There are very, very few products that will actually kill things within a minute time. That product that we use is called Oxiver. We ordered everything we could possibly get our hands on. We were one of the first schools to place that order, so we were able to get over 70 tubs of disposable wipes, plus all of the cleaning supplies, to restock those. So we do have tens of thousands of these wipes themselves. The problem is we don't have enough to put them in every single classroom. So what we've been doing, and this is something that I discussed with union leadership, CTA leadership, and thankfully came up with a very creative way of solving this, and it was to use disposable bags. We take out 5 or 6 of the wipes, we put them in a disposable bag, therefore we're ensuring that there's not waste and that they're readily available for everybody as long as the supplies last. The key being as long as the supplies last. These products now are being back ordered up through May. So we have a supply. We have another opportunity to buy another supply. We're going to place an order tomorrow that has a 4-minute kill time. Hopefully those will be here in about 7 to 10 days, and we'll use those when the Oxyfirst starts running down. The other thing they do is quite simply to say provide tissues to the staff. We had in the warehouse several hundred boxes of tissues. There were also many boxes distributed throughout the buildings as well. We placed an order for an additional 3,000 boxes of tissues, everything we could get. That order was supposed to be delivered today. It did not get delivered today. So my hope is that it's going to be delivered tomorrow. Thankfully, we have not had any additional requests for the tissues of any of the custodians in the buildings. So we will actually, start delivering those to the buildings so we augment the supplies that are available at each of the respective buildings, hopefully as early as tomorrow when that supply gets in. So one of the things CDC talks about is your maintain your regular cleaning. When you talk about regular cleaning, not every single surface in every single building is cleaned every single day. That being said, we do disinfect many more areas that are being cleaned. So in this auditorium, for example, if you were to look around, are you going to see something on the floor in a corner and everything else? Quite possibly. Is every single nook and cranny being cleaned? And I couldn't tell you with certainty that that is the case. That said, we go around with a spray, either in a liquid form or an aerosol form, and we disinfect the surfaces of everything. We're typically doing those after hours with products that have a 10-minute kill time. That gives us the opportunity to use the chemicals that we have on hand, of which thankfully we have quite a bit. And it allows us to disinfect every single area. So these are the typical cleaning procedures that you see that we're doing. Desks, chairs, floors, tiled walls, hallways, vestibules. What we're disinfecting typically, nurses' suites, bathrooms, locker rooms, home and careers, kitchens, special ed classrooms, computer labs, wrestling room, weight room, water fountain, and cafeteria tables. In many of these locations, we also have disposable wipes available so that additional disinfection can be done during the course of the day. Recent changes to our cleaning procedures. Every single sub-custodian who's been district approved has been called into work. They are allowing us to clean those areas that we typically were not on a daily basis, to clean them on a much, much more regular basis. This is going to allow us to clean and disinfect the entire district on a daily basis. It is going to be a huge undertaking, but that has been the directive for all the custodians at all of the buildings. We are looking to do additional things as supplies come in. One of the things we've done and placed this order over 2 weeks ago was hand sanitizing stations. We've ordered 120 hand sanitizing stations. We will be sharing them out with the buildings and putting them in the most highly visible areas, including the hallways throughout the district. Unfortunately, they are not here yet. We did have a few in the warehouse. Those were put in the main offices and near the faculty rooms as centrally located areas, but now we're going to be putting them in all the hallways as soon as that order arrives.
John, I have a quick question about the hand sanitizing units. Are you talking about the Purell that comes out the bottom?
Correct.
So is there a tray to catch anything that squirts on the floor so nobody slips on that?
They do not have a tray on the ones that we're doing, so it's just going to be something we're going to have to monitor on a regular basis.
Okay. I don't want anybody slipping.
Maybe you could put a rug underneath it, a small
Something
rug or
so that it
small-
doesn't.
I'll look and see what options we have. We do have some walk-off mats that can be cut, but those can also be tripping hazards themselves because we'll take a look at it and we'll see what options
I
we
mean, you
have.
got high heels walking around sometimes. You don't want anybody slipping on that.
Understood. And I'm hoping that we can find some visible yet out-of-the-way spaces that will allow it to be, something that we can maintain. But I will certainly look at, the potential for slipping and how we're going to locate them in a way that'll lessen that everywhere we possibly can.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you find Purell?
No. No, we can't. I mean, all of these products, up until the other day when the governor declared an emergency, we still had to follow basic purchasing. That meant going off of existing contracts, getting vendors approved, all the different variables that go into that. We were able to fast track quite a few orders, utilizing contractors and suppliers that we've not used in the past for these particular items, but they were the ones who had the greatest availability in the shortest amount of time. Unfortunately, even those sales pitches haven't come true to in all cases. So some of the stuff that we anticipated having access to last week has not been delivered.
But do we have enough toilet paper?
As of now,
I'm sorry, I had to go there.
as of now, yes, we have enough toilet paper.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I will double check that tomorrow and order more if
I apologize.
No, I appreciate the levity. So recent changes, and keep in mind, this is not something, hand sanitizer stations is not something that the CDC is recommending. We're doing this above and beyond because it's important as a school, we have, one of the comments that everybody's making is limit the large gatherings, and I can appreciate today is a large gathering. But schools by their very nature are large gatherings. So we're going to do everything we can to be as proactive as we can to get as many materials and supplies out and about so that we can do everything we can to try to keep everybody as healthy as we possibly can and provide the peace of mind that everybody deserves. So I spoke about the tubs. That's the disposable wipes. That's not something that has been done on a universal basis, so that's something new. Providing tissues, it's been done periodically, but it's never been done as a district-wide initiative. That will be done at the end of this. Disinfecting spray. One of the things that we have the luxury of having is our own buses. Typically, the buses are cleaned on a daily, on a regular basis by the bus drivers themselves. I forget the actual number of buses we have, but what we are going to be doing is disinfecting every single bus every single night. We found a product that we are able to put in simple spray bottles. We're going to be providing that to all of the bus drivers, and they are going to be able to spray it on their way off the bus at the end of the night and disinfect all surfaces. So even if they're not cleaning every little nook and cranny, this disinfectant spray will penetrate to those areas as well as possible, and we will start disinfecting the buses as well. Additionally, myself, the Director of Facilities, and the Custodial Supervisor are going to the buildings on a much more regular basis, and we are verifying that the cleaning is taking place as been described. The last piece of this is showing how we are meeting CDC recommendations. We are absolutely maintaining daily cleaning procedures, and we are doing so at a level that far exceeds what we were doing previously. We are providing disposable wipes to the staff. We are also providing the tissues to the staff. One of the last pieces that the CDC came up with, but yet they gave us absolutely no guidance as to what it should look like, was to post warnings at all of the main entrances. Today, we actually got those printed up and they're at all the buildings. They're done in a manner so that they're pictorial in nature, so even for the elementary schools, they are able to see exactly what is being discussed. It talks about washing your hands, it talks about covering your nose, it talks about simple, basic general hygiene that we should all be aware of throughout the flu season regardless. So those have been posted at all the buildings at the main entrances as well. So that's where we're at with meeting the CDC regulations and guidelines. In all honesty, I believe our schools are clean. I believe they are well disinfected. I think all things considered right now, without having a crystal ball, we're in good shape.
So that leads me to the next discussion, which is, well, one, we have an SAT testing this Saturday.
There's a whole lot of activities in all the buildings, absolutely.
I only mention that on the top of my head because in that particular case, we're having outside children and outside facilities are coming into our
Correct.
buildings.
Correct.
Okay, which also leads to the board having to have a discussion on, are you looking to or thinking about or considering, well, Saturday it's in its own entity because we're sponsoring an SAT test. Putting that to the side for a second, or also have, as I'm sure you've seen, we have quite a few trips, school trips for our children. That is going to be another discussion for us to have. Do we suspend trips for 2 weeks? Do we suspend it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Do we take it week by week? That's a discussion for us to have.
I thought we were going to wait until after, we were going to bring it up, but then wait until after public comment to see if anybody had something they wanted to add from the public.
Okay, we can hold the
I mean,
conversation.
people are nurses and doctors, and I'm sure they have their,
Yeah, we can hold the conversation. I just need a little direction from the board.
Well, I don't have any kids here, so I would leave that up to the parents and what they say. As I said earlier, I can't make that decision.
I have kids
Or
here,
someone else's kids.
and I just feel like at this point, the media is definitely taking advantage of what's going on. It is a serious situation, but I was in a hospital today, and when I spoke to the doctors at hand, they said flu A and flu B could potentially be more dangerous than the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna fear coronavirus, and we haven't had any cases where anybody's been around somebody who has already been diagnosed with it or come in contact with anybody, I think that we should maybe go more like a turtle speed with this than lightning speed, the way some other districts are doing it, but that's just my opinion.
Well, the reason why this is having a conversation today is because other districts are having this conversation.
But other districts, I think, had potentially had somebody who was in contact with somebody who was in contact, who was with somebody who was in contact.
Right.
Like a third plate person
So what
and
happens
just
if that
doing it.
occurs then?
Then we can discuss, it would make sense to discuss it then. Discussing it now seems premature, no?
Well, as far as I know, Stony Brook has not had any cases where they,
No, be proactive, but we're gonna cancel everything on the kids? We're gonna cancel
No,
everything
no,
on
I
the
agree.
teachers? What if this goes on for 6 months? Are we gonna stay home for 6 months?
well, that's why I said, do you want to take it
I
one
mean,
week at a
things like
time?
this, I mean, people actually cancel board meetings. And we
Yeah.
potentially were discussing that, and we said, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
So anyway, so it goes back to the original statement that I made, is that we do this by week basis? Do we leave it to the parents' discretion? Again, we are asking our teachers, our employees,
Well, we have a large group here today, when they get up to speak,
I think we have
if
teachers,
they-
parents, nurses.
if they would like to speak, and we're not gonna, we're gonna vote to allow people to speak and keep speaking, then we can always
okay, we can revisit that discussion.
revisit it after and let's see what people give us.
Okay, great.
We can gauge the audience.
I'm with you.
I have just one question, then someone can answer it after. If they have regents, and kids from all different schools come, and they segregate, no, I'm not a segregator.
You mean
Don't
SATs?
misunderstand me? But can we, no, what, the SATs? The SATs, can we keep our kids on one side and all the incoming kids on the other side, or no?
Yeah, that'll go over great with the media.
Yeah, I don't think so, Lee.
Okay,
I don't think so.
that's just so many questions.
No, today they made comments, I think it was on Channel 12, I could be wrong, but I thought it was. They said the elderly, they said if you're the elderly, if you have a compromised immune system, if you have diabetes, these are people
Wait,
that
they call
really
the
have to-
elderly 50 and over.
All right, so you guys are elderly, I'm not, but you are. But, sorry. But no, but I'm just saying, seriously, I'm saying if you are considered in that bracket, and you know that you have a compromised immune system, you could be very young to have a compromised immune system. Then maybe that's something to take into account. But other than that, they didn't make it like it's, I mean, everyone's going out buying all masks and all gloves and everything.
Toilet paper.
Everything. I mean, be proactive, I'm all about proactive, but don't be,
Over a month.
overly, fear-mongering. It's a little bit much.
Okay, definitely. Okay, now we're moving on to our next topic is student-teacher recognition.
Before you get into that, we do have some students here tonight that I think want to come up and say something. So this is the perfect time for them to come up and say what they need to say. Hello, didn't we have children?
I think they're missing their teacher here.
Where's your teacher?
Good evening, parents, students, and administration of Connecticut Central School District. My name is Jessica Feisler, and I am an 11th grader at the high school. It has come to my and many of my other peers' attention that we are potentially losing teachers district-wide due to issues involving the budget. The decision that you make tonight affects one group more than any other, the students. We are the ones who have to sit in the classrooms, we are the ones that have to learn, and we are the ones who have to take the tests that time after time represent the academic success we have here at Connecticut. There are many factors that go into a successful student, and the teachers are definitely one of them. I would not be here today with such passion to help the teachers that we are potentially losing if they have not helped me and many others so dramatically. At the end of the day, school is meant for learning, and it should be a priority at a school that students are getting the best academic experience they possibly can. And it is in my very strong opinion that these teachers we are potentially losing are going to do that for students here at Connecticut. As part of the student body, I will not be silent in a process that affects me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Goodwin, did you have something to say to me as well? Well said. Ms. Goodman, did you have? That was the wrong one, sorry. That was public comment.
Not the
That was
wrong one.
public comment.
They're all
That was great.
together.
That was awesome.
Great
Very
job.
well spoken.
Hold on. The rest of you get up.
There you go.
They're all getting up, that's fine. So just quickly, Ms. Ogles, Superintendent or Dr. Adams, excuse me, and to everyone in the audience, what these young people are about to talk about could not happen if it wasn't for the cooperation of the Board of Education, the taxpayer, administration, and of course my colleagues. Not one of the things that these young kids are about to thank you for could occur if you all did not cooperate. So this is a very young group of civic members, and I want you to be patient while Kaylee does her best, okay? Go ahead, bud. On behalf of the Connecticut softball program, we would like to thank the Connecticut School District, Board of Education, administration, and most importantly, the Connecticut community at large for our new turf field. We wholeheartedly appreciate the board's support, and we are looking forward to speaking with you regarding next year's anticipated trip to ESPN's spring training program. We would like to note that Mr. Walshaw was instrumental in many of our field's improvements, and for his efforts, we are truly grateful. We are also here tonight representing the Connecticut Civic. Please note that we appreciate your support of our greatest endeavor, Freshman Awareness Weekend. We are excited that over the next year, it will again be an overnight event, and for that, we are truly grateful.
Yeah.
The Civic thanks Board President, Ms. Millen Augustus, and
That was good, you got it.
Board Vice President, Ms. Panico, and for their constant support. With that said, we thank you for affording us the opportunity to be a driving force behind Winter Wonderland, and we look forward to improving that event's community impact each other. We particularly would like to thank former Board President, Mr. Ray Carter, former Board President, Mr. Leo Marinick, PTA President Kim Trink, and Mr. John Tedeschi for bringing that event to Connecticut High School. Lastly, we would like to thank Board of Education, Ms. Napolitano, for her assist with Winter Wonderland tonight, and we also wish her a very happy birthday. My 10th grade English teacher is in the audience. I hope this makes her proud.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you guys, it was great. Okay, so the conversation,
I'm sorry, I was not written with them, I kind of just accidentally squeezed myself into them. My name is Janine Hernandez, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the World Language Program, which I have.
wait, hold on.
We're gonna do
sorry.
that at public
We're
comment.
gonna do that public comment.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was just for the presentations part, the
Okay,
discussion.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's
I'll come back.
okay, that's okay.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so. No.
He's a student.
No, I understand, we're kind of getting at, we have to follow an agenda.
You're gonna all be able to speak. We're not doing the 30 minutes tonight. We are going to vote to be able to do it so that everybody who wants to speak, we're here having a sleepover, we are all gonna speak tonight.
I have no
Everybody who
plans.
wants to say something can say something.
I brought my pillow.
Okay, so we started the discussion on the student-teacher recognitions. So we have the option of, do we incorporate that into our normal Board of Education?
So as I said, and.
Wait, I gotta finish.
I wrote this.
All right.
Wait.
No, because
Wait, so we have the option, do we incorporate it with our normal Board of Education meetings, or do we have the discussion on putting it on a separate night? And if we put it on a separate night, do you want to do this every other month, every month? So that's the discussions what we're looking
Well, I
at.
want to do it on a separate night because these kids deserve their own recognition. They should not be stuck in the Board of Education meeting.
this is not it.
They don't want to sit here through all this,
Just to get,
or they don't want that. And they should have their cake, just like everybody else gets a little cake, they should have their own
well, why
recognition.
not make it really
We
nice?
can do it every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then-
I asked to put this topic on because it was very upsetting to me that this was taken off the table. We didn't have
It
our
was never
kids here.
taken off.
We didn't have children here from the very beginning of the year because they wanted a special night. But the special night now is March.
Okay, but this.
We didn't see one teacher, not one recognition, not one student all year.
Why wasn't it put on though?
Wait, you have to let her finish.
I
Everybody
used
has
to go, some of you know, we used to go into schoolhouses once a month for our board meetings. It was wonderful. We got to know the parents, we got to know the students. They played music for us. Best thing that ever happened. We became part of the community. We became part of you because you were the teacher that might have been there that night in each building. That was taken away. Then it went from that to having teachers being recognized, the beginning of a meeting. They're not waiting all night. They're recognized first. There's an audience. Teachers are recognized, students are recognized, parents are proud. That was going on for years after the other thing stopped. And that was taken away at the beginning of the year. To have a separate night, well, who's going to be there?
Me?
3
I'll
or
be
4, or if you can make it. Not all 5
Lee,
board
not
members.
everybody comes to meetings to begin with.
You have the opportunity to speak.
At a board meeting, at a board meeting tonight, there's a meeting, these kids spoke, and had an audience, not just 4 or 5 board members who could be here, and the superintendent. They're being recognized by their community. We're part of a community. If there are 5 people at a board meeting or 50 people, we're part of a community. And these children should be recognized in front of the community that's there. That's how I feel. I've lived it for 21 years. I enjoyed it for 21 years. It makes me realize why I'm here as a board member. You don't see kids, you don't see teachers, you don't see anyone other than come in and argue with each other. What's the purpose?
Lee, you can always visit the schools and go to programs like me and my Lynn have done. You can go and you can go to all the wonderful things that are going on throughout the year that we get invited to.
I do. As a matter of fact, I do have a
We went
question on
to
that.
the openings of the playgrounds and had a field day with it. It was beautiful. John did a great job. Linda did a good job. It was a beautiful thing. You can be involved if you want to be and can be if you're not busy, whatever. But you can't say that this is the only time to recognize kids. Do something really nice.
Give them their.
And let their families be able to all attend and have room to sit and not feel like they're
being
in.
washed. Let them have their own night, let them have a
Do
cake.
something nice. We've been saying that. We've been sending emails.
Mark, I'd like for you to chime in if you can.
Good.
We were never against, I'm not taking away a night, just so everybody understands. We suggested having a special night because the kids here deserve a special night for themselves. And that's what it's about the kids.
That was where
This
the
hostile environment,
Now,
sometimes that happens, I'm not gonna get into it now. But we need the teachers, you're here tonight. Would you come for a special night for your students? I mean, show me, tell me, because if you wouldn't, then you know what, then it's a moot point. But I believe you'll be there for the kids. And I'm putting it on you to be there because they deserve that. And I'm hoping that you would be there because that's what it's about. It's about the kids when it comes right down to it.
Yep.
So I have you, you're here, I see plenty of you. You came tonight for a special reason. Well, the kids are more special. If they have a special night every other month, will you be there? I can't hear you, teachers.
All right.
Let me get a commitment, so this way we can do what we need to do, because I'm gonna make it my hardest to be there. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is every other month, I heard a Tuesday.
Every other month or every third month, I said, God, do it however you, because I think that's what Linda brought up.
Every third month.
I don't know why we weren't doing this
Quarterly.
Quarterly, okay.
Quarterly, I don't.
Okay, so now we're looking at, okay, so go pull out your calendars, what's the next month? We're
I'll
looking
give
at
you next
April.
Tuesday. What's next Tuesday?
Give me a Tuesday. Give
No,
me-
no, no, pick it
I
for
haven't
April.
missed a meeting in 8 months.
So pick it,
Any Tuesday night,
so then we'll pick
except
it.
on the board meeting nights. Give them their own night.
Okay, well, we don't have any votes on Tuesday, so, I mean, which,
Next Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if you want to do
no,
that.
no, no, we're going for April, we're going for April. I wanna get a Corona, I wanna get a Corona,
All right,
you know.
so what
we'll pick
about
in
April 7th?
Is that
Oh,
what
wait, are they on vacation that week or not?
Yeah, spring break.
Is spring break April 7th, yes, no, anybody?
Yes,
They're away, okay, so then we can't do that. What about the 21st?
April, just make sure it's not a board meeting.
That's the budget adoption.
Okay,
Okay, so that's a quick meeting.
it has to be a Tuesday.
I don't know why it has to be a Tuesday.
I could do a Thursday also. I cannot do Wednesday
So
night.
then do any Thursday, pick a Thursday and
Pick
then
the
tell me the
closest
date.
All right, then we'll pick the first Thursday in April, how's
But the
that?
first Thursday in April.
You're on vacation.
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
that's
sorry,
fine.
second
April
Thursday.
2nd, perfect, April 2nd.
So
Okay,
at
April
that
2nd.
point, are we gonna recognize everyone from June on?
Why not?
Okay, I just want to know, are we, everyone that we didn't recognize since June?
Yes,
we're gonna
Everybody that we
invite?
didn't
Yes.
recognize, we're gonna have a big thing, we can always do it here or at the high school, or however you guys wanna do it.
okay, so what's the date, April
I'm
2nd?
gonna make sure there's
Showcase of
cake.
the arts.
There better be cake.
Showcase of the arts.
Showcase of the Arts is April 7th. We're gonna have to look at the calendar.
If you guys would email me dates.
We'll pick it up.
Any day but Wednesday. I can do any day but Wednesday.
Yeah,
You guys figure out a date and then let me know, and I'll make it work.
Okay, email Linda 2 dates in April, okay? 2 dates in April.
You got it.
And they'll look at the calendar, make sure it doesn't conflict with any major events that are going around in the district.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, moving on to public comment.
There we go.
The section of the agenda gives the Board of Education the opportunity to recognize a person who wishes to ask questions or make a brief statement on the 2019-2020 budget or capital project, which we kind of discussed earlier. One of the phases. Person who wishes to speak to the podium, step up. You have 3 minutes. I'm going to tell everyone tonight I am sticking to the 3 minutes. I'm going to ask that you look at the clock and also respect the 3 minutes because I anticipate that many people want to speak tonight. And if you infringe on the 3 minutes, then you're kind of infringing other people's time. So please stick to the 3 minutes. I'm being very strict with that tonight.
Maybe you wanna tell people to
It's right
line.
up on the scope.
No, make a line and say it if they want.
You're cutting into Tony's time. Go ahead, Tony.
I just,
Reset.
Reset.
Good evening. On February 14th, the association sent a letter to Mrs. Orgelis expressing our concern regarding Ms. Napolitano-Fernal's actions at the February 11th Board of Education meeting, which were unacceptable, unprofessional, and violated board policies and her oath of office. Refer to Board Policy 0310-E.1. Her statements that the teacher overseeing the rap room coached kids' responses and then lied about it were inappropriate and had no basis of fact. Her personal feelings do not give her the right to make these accusations in public or on social media. This irresponsible behavior undermines the teacher's credibility, defames their name and professional stature. The association did not receive a response to the February 14th email. On February 27th, the association sent another letter to Mrs. Augelis, again expressing our concerns about the inappropriateness, unprofessional, and violation of board policies by Ms. Napolitano-Ferno. To date, there has still been no response. In the letter dated February 27th, the association wrote that we expect other members of the board to stand up and speak out regarding Ms. Napolitano-Ferno's unprofessional behavior. Let me ask you now, face to face, will you stand up and speak out tonight against the actions of your colleague, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno? If you choose not to, the Connecticut Teachers Association will see that as your approval of what she did and your acceptance of her unprofessional, unethical, unacceptable behavior. Ms. Napolitano-Ferno has violated district policy and has defamed the personal and professional character of a teacher in a public forum and on social media. Ms. Napolitano-Ferno needs to realize that she is entitled to her opinion, and the association, although we disagree with her about the rap room's success, appreciates her opinion. But making inaccurate statements based on not one fact and questioning a teacher's integrity in public is unacceptable and harmful to the district. The Connecticut Teachers Association is demanding an apology for her actions. If Board of Education members are not going to be held accountable for violating district policies, how do you expect anyone else to abide by district policies? If you refuse to stand up and speak out in opposition to her behavior, you are sending a very bad message to this community, the administrators, teachers, all staff, and students. You cannot pick and choose when you want to enforce the policies that you make. Ms. Napolitano-Ferno needs to take responsibility for her behavior, and she needs to do the right thing and apologize. If she chooses not to, then you need to do it for her. We get an apology, we move forward. That's our goal, and I do appreciate your comments tonight. I give credit where credit is due, and I think everybody in this room who's a teacher appreciates your comments this evening about the support for teachers and the need to have lower class sizes rather than larger. Let's be a leader in Connecticut and not a follower. This is our opportunity to take advantage of declining enrollment and not cut teachers and people who give their lives to this community and to this district. So there's more to come in 2 weeks on that. But again, I do appreciate your support on that issue. Thank you.
Can I respond?
No, just public comment. I mean, what the heck? No, but if she wants to, have at it.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for the new playgrounds. I can tell you right now that my fourth grader is absolutely loving it because they're thrilled at our elementary school. It's a fantastic improvement and it was much needed. So thank you so much for putting that together. The other things I'd like to speak about is the discussion of cutting teachers. I know we mentioned that 15 to 16 students in a class might not be a good idea, but actually I think it's the best idea. There are children, especially in the AP classes, you don't have 25 kids in an AP class, but those children are also entitled to a free and appropriate education. And appropriate is different for every single child, and while I do understand we can't have a one-on-one education, but in order for every single child to have the best chance of success, they need to have those opportunities. So I would be completely against cutting those classes. The other thing that was mentioned was that possibly cutting a language out of our district. That seems to be a rumor. I would have to say no. The rumor was that it was French. French is the international business language, is the top international business language. And my opinion is that now that we have finally brought languages down to the elementary school level, you're going to have children that are so excited to take a language in middle school. They're going to look forward to it, where in prior years, they were like, well, I have to take a language. Some kids might have been interested. There's always going to be that. But for the most part, they're really not going to have a working knowledge of it. Now, it is a wonderful program that my family is also taking part in. I have children in all levels of school. Another issue was that cutting a lot of these programs and these classes for the secondary schools was mentioned. Unfortunately, I just think that would have an impact on their mental health as well as just their growth as children. The biggest thing that we tell our kids is when they get to secondary schools is that they're going to have so many opportunities. They're going to be joining clubs. They're going to be in different classes. They're going to try things that they might not have tried because they did not have the opportunity in K through 5 because it just doesn't exist. And for that, that might be a kid finding their group. That might be a kid who finally feels accepted. That might be a kid who decides, you know what, I'm going to be the next president of the United States, or I'm going to be an engineer, or I'm going to be an electrician, or you know what, I'm going to be a theater kid. You need to have these opportunities, and you need to provide the cutting edge abilities for them. We have these teachers, they're fantastic. I can't say enough about it, and I think that we would be remiss to only have a class if there's 20 kids. That's just not even realistic. It's not. How could you eliminate that from a kid? You could be saving a kid's life. That's how I feel about it. I really genuinely do. So I hope that you'll reconsider that ridiculously low number like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask, we have a number of teachers in the audience, as you can see. All right. Is there going, I know Ms. Kennedy was going to respond, she was cut off. I wonder if there's going to be a response so these teachers can be reassured that Board of Ed members are not going to go after teachers and defame their name in public forums. We need to know that. And we have some answer.
After public portion, I was going to address that. I wanted people to get through the public portion, and afterwards I was going to address Mr. Felicio's statement. All of us will address it.
Understood. But let me just make a recommendation now. There's going to be a lot of people here. You have a lot of teachers in the audience here that have to get up early tomorrow, go to work. Okay. Understood. David? I'm wondering if you can respond now to it so at least they can feel, if they do leave, some of them may leave, they have children at home, some may leave, so at least they can feel reassured that the Board of Education is going to do the right thing with this.
Oh, so you want it to be done now on your 1 minute and 49 seconds? Okay.
You can go on if you can go beyond if you want. You're the Board of Ed.
I understand what you were looking for. You were looking for an apology. Like I say to everybody, I'm one vote, I'm my voice, I'm responsible for my voice. Just like every board member on here, we're responsible for our vote and for our voice. Do I condone speaking negatively about anybody who works in the district, or a parent or a child? No, I do not condone that. That particular meeting that you were speaking with, I understand that yourself and Ms. Napolitano had some words. There was a discussion going back and forth.
Discussion.
Right. We did have the attorney pay close attention to the conversation. I was sick that night. Unfortunately, that video has not been released. I have not seen the video. I've seen a portion of the video. By the time I got to finish the rest of the video was taken down. So I'm going to go back to what I was opening by saying is, I'm responsible for my voice and my actions. If I personally did something to your teachers, or my parents, or my children in this district, and that's right, all my children, I would personally apologize for my actions. I have to allow Ms. Napolitano to speak in regards to her actions.
Is that going to be done? But Ms. Napolitano, we can move on from this.
I do not feel that I defamed anybody, and on that meeting, somebody was saying negative things to me as well. And honestly,
you're a Board of Ed member. There's a big difference.
Right, you can't interrupt if you want to answer.
But what I'm saying to you is, I would never speak poorly of any of your teachers, and teachers who know me from the schools that my children attend, because those are where I've been the most as a parent, know that I have the utmost respect for teachers. I have always said they were amazing. I have always told them I couldn't do what they do. I have always told them that I commend them. I'm not going to say that I'm sorry when I did not feel that I defamed anyone. I feel that I personally had a difference of opinion. That's all. And it's all people have differences of opinion, and what we do is we agree to disagree. And just had a difference of opinion.
It went beyond, Ms. Napolitano.
She answered.
It went beyond that. Okay. No, I'm responding to it. It went beyond that. And I'm wondering if anybody else in the Board of Ed is going to respond to that. How can you condone that?
I'll respond. I think Ms. Napolitano, first of all, I left before the meeting was over, so I didn't even see that part of it. But I think Ms. Napolitano showed tonight her support of teachers. I think her actions, how she is
Still defame a teacher's name in a public
again,
forum.
I was not
We appreciate what you did
there.
tonight.
Brad, if you want me to respond, I can respond, but you gotta let me talk. I was not there, the video is down, but from what I understand, that happened, it was a back and forth, which has happened many times, when you guys have gone back and forth with many board members.
Teachers never been defamed in a public forum.
I didn't hear that, but I think she showed, if she said it and it was her opinion and it was taken out of context, I don't know. But she showed her support tonight for teachers.
What's about my turn? Don't you turn around here?
Go ahead, Lee.
I hear you loud and clear.
She showed her support tonight. She's not for cutting class sizes, she's not for cutting teachers.
Okay,
So I've done something wrong, makes you
okay, sometimes, board members don't understand they're doing something wrong or right, or a little wrong, but I think just through this conversation, that they're not gonna do it again, okay? But I also need to know from the union, because I could be saying I'm sorry any minute. I was told I did something wrong because in the last couple of months, I called the principal, 3 different schools, got permission to go. I observed in the classroom. Now I'm told by people that I'm not allowed to observe in the classroom even though I got permission. I went to, actually saw you there at the high school for the rap room. I went to both middle schools to sit in a classroom while they were doing presentation of wonder. But I got principal permission. Am I not allowed to do that with permission?
Lee, that's something we can discuss. To me, that's a separate issue. All right, we want to see
Well,
what
I
the
don't
Board
want
of
to be
Ed
accused, and I would apologize if I did that wrong, because I don't know. I thought I was okay.
Okay, all right.
We can discuss
Yeah, want to speak, please.
Hi. I just want to let the teachers behind me know that I was actually at this meeting that Mr. Felicio was talking about, and it appalled me when I saw the email go out saying how she defamed a teacher, because she did not. Okay, I was sitting right behind him, and she expressed her views that she was not in favor of how the room was being utilized. She never said anything, she never defamed the teacher's name, she never defamed the purpose of the room, she just says it wasn't being utilized in its intention when it was initially implemented. When Mr. Felicio and I believe it was Brad, I think, it kept talking about it, and Mr. Felicio started saying derogatory comments about Ms. Napolitano-Ferno being a female police officer. I took offense to that, and I told him could he please respect her. He turned to...
You're going to allow her to speak. Listen, I'm not a board member, and she does not have the right. If she's going to make...
I'll refrain from using his name. He turned to me and he said, he goes, I don't need to show her respect. What do you know? I said, well, I was a police officer too, so show her some respect. He turned around and he said, what are you going to do, arrest me?
Absolutely.
At that point, if we have the video, if the video ever come up, you would hear him say that because he said it very loud and clear. Anyway, if anybody knows me in this room, they know I'm not a confrontational person, and they usually don't tell people I was a police officer because I like to keep that quiet. He then turned around to me and said, my son-in-law is my son-in-law is a cop. And I said, please show her some respect. And then Lee Kennedy started speaking, and I once again asked him to stop talking from the audience. I can't hear what Miss Kennedy is trying to say. And he turned around, he just like fluffed me off, and he goes, what do you know? You don't know anything. So please, teachers behind me, know that Ms. Napolitano-Ferno has your back, and don't be listening to everything your union president has to say. Thank you.
Still call somebody a liar in a public forum.
It's the same thing.
Well, no, it's not.
Call her a liar.
You want somebody to
You're a Board of Ed
act
member.
you act
You're not supposed to.
They getting accepted.
We need to have some respect. There was someone at the podium. He waited online to speak. Let's show him the respect and let's listen to him speak. Please, no crisscross dialogue in the audience. If you want to have a dialogue or a conversation, have it outside, please. But let's respect our community who came here tonight who would like to speak. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to go way off topic here, so I apologize. First and foremost, I just want to thank all of you for what you do. You have the tremendous responsibility of making sure that our kids get what they need in marriage to what their parents want. And I don't envy that position. So my name's Andrew, and if it wasn't sidebar, if it wasn't for Miss Napolitano-Ferno, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'm here tonight because I have 2 children in the Connecticut School District. I'm here tonight because I've been coming to these meetings as often as I can make them since the initial meeting regarding our fact-finding mission for some form of armed security. And to my pleasant surprise, the overwhelming majority of parents in attendance were there to support the idea. Now, I have people I call friends, and I have people I call family on both sides of that fence. And I've always attempted to be the bipartisan gray area guy because I thought it made me seem reasonable, like it made me seem smart. Like, yeah, that guy gets it. But all I ever did was sit on that fence, and not making a choice is still making a choice. So tonight I want to ask, do we put a price on erring to the side of caution when it comes to our children? How much is too much to no longer allow our children to be soft targets? Think about all the people and places in our country that have armed security. The list includes everything from banks and government buildings to movie stars and our nation's politicians. Is the problem that we value these things more than our kids? No, of course not. That's insane. But I guarantee you that even that corner deli that sells your favorite egg sandwich in the morning has a gun behind the counter. In 2018, Ted Gregory of the Chicago Tribune wrote an article, 2 high school shootings within days of each other. Each showed different outcomes despite the presence of armed protection. The SRO at Dixon High in north central Illinois confronted a shooter in the hall and was lauded as a life-saving hero. 2 days later, 10 people were killed in a school shooting near Houston. Among the injured were a police officer with the Santa Fe Independent School District Police Department. However, it was still the SRO, Mark Dallas, who took down the shooter with his own firearm, and he did not even kill the shooter. That kid's currently in jail. While having an armed guard on hand isn't always enough to stop a school shooting, research suggests that their presence can be beneficial in a number of ways. A report released also in 2018 on a 2-year study by Canada, yes, Canada, a place notorious for being anti-gun. Canada's Carleton University of an SRO program covering 5 schools in the Toronto area showed that it prevented or minimized property damages, injuries and deaths from violence and drug overdoses, and reduced the need for 911 calls. The study also credited the SRO program with increasing the likelihood that students will get necessary social service and help for healthcare, as well as enhancing feelings of safety among students and staff. Now, please keep in mind, this article, while factual, is exceptional in nature. I'm not ignorant. If you Google armed security in school, the search results are going to show a majority of articles against it, but it's all opinion pieces. The reality is, at least according to a 2019 report from the New York State School Boards Association, the majority of research still leaves doubt and dispute regarding whether or not armed school security reduces school violence or deters school shootings on a per capita average. But that doesn't scare me. And I don't want it to scare anyone else. It's self-evident that it doesn't
Sorry, 10 more seconds. I know you're very passionate.
No, it's okay. So I'm just, yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer. I am an alumni of Connecticut class of 92. I'm here tonight because I received an email from a friend of mine that stated that the Connecticut Teachers Union president was going to rally his union in solidarity against one board member. This Board of Ed trustee questioned the high school program, gave her opinion, which she shared, and then was attacked for it, pretty much. Instead of that being the end of it, this Board of Ed trustee had the Connecticut Teachers Association Union vice president show up at a meeting, question her during public speaking, to which she answered his questions, and being fairly new to the board, she would have been better off just not answering. When she still disagreed about the program, another longtime Board of Ed trustee tried to gaslight her for a reaction. Then the Connecticut Teachers Association president continued verbally abusing the Board of Ed trustee for her answers and for giving her opinion in a public forum, at which time the Connecticut Teachers Association president then decided he would go after her as a law enforcement officer and started berating and making fun of the fact that she was a police officer. Shame on you, CTA president. When any of us are in trouble, when you're in fear, who do you call for help? You dial 911. I don't think your phone rings in your house. I don't think you put on a bulletproof vest. And I sure don't think you run out into the line of fire. While I respect the hardworking teachers, I am appalled that anyone thinks that it's okay to try to defame or abuse a volunteer who is elected as a school board trustee. And because a full-time job is in law enforcement, you thought it would be an easy target. But you know what? You attacked all police that day. You went after all the men and women in blue when you made fun of one for absolutely no reason, with no connection to policing at all. You are a union person, but so is your Board of Ed trustee. She sits as a vice president in her union, and at no time has she ever spoken to a teacher or in public the way you spoke to her that day. You demand an apology? You deserve to give her an apology. How dare you speak to her like that? Who do you think you are? Let me just let you know, you are only the president of the Connecticut School Teachers Association. That is it. That's where your legacy begins, and that is where it ends. Now, the video was up for all of 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden came down because people could hear the derogatory statements. They could hear you attacking her. They heard you saying about police officers. Do the right thing and apologize instead of standing up here and making it so personal.
There's no more interruption from the audience, or I will shut down the meeting, and we will take a 15-minute break.
No, tell him to come back up. You can come back
No,
up.
sweetheart, you know what? Please,
Come on now.
you're a child. Okay, if you guys could have.
Is it, Mrs. Goodwin, is she okay?
Okay. You don't call me. Please act like it's policy.
Where did she
You know, accusing a board member of gaslighting is also an opinion of
That's
yours.
right, it's my opinion,
No.
I'm not on the board, I'm not.
I'm not asking for an apology because that's not true.
I'm not giving it. Hold it again.
Yeah?
Are we doing it without me? You could speak. What's up?
You can speak.
You can speak, sir.
All right, good evening. Hello. My name is Ryan Carey. Tonight I speak for the children. I have a kindergartner at Finn School District. I am a 16-year school teacher at the William Floyd community. I am on the executive board there for my union, but tonight I speak for the children. I'm an advocate for the children, and that's what we do. When I heard about the cuts that are being proposed for the teachers, that would never and could never be the solution. I understand the district is in a bind for money. How we got there, it is what it is. There's no changing that. However, cutting children's teachers, it just could never be the solution. Having a kindergartner sit with 24 children in a kindergarten classroom, those numbers are too high. I grew up in Bayport Blue Point community, where I grew up and I graduated a class of 98 students. What an advantage that gave me in life. I made relationships with my teachers, my peers, my students, my friends or friends from kindergarten. Part of living in a nice community is having small numbers in our schools, the intimate relationships, and the friendships. Cutting teachers would just never be the solution to that. There are many other ways, of creative ways, to create money and voids. In my school district, personally, we're always working around a budget. I sit in, I know the ins and outs. There are many other solutions. We can offer incentives for retirement for older teachers, to create new positions for younger teachers, and the salaries work. There are just many other solutions. Cutting 30 teachers, it would just never be the solution. All it hurts is the children, which hurts the community, which hurts test scores, which hurts everything. And just on a personal note, just the way that everybody interacts here, everybody should just go home and just reflect about your actions, because this is not professional in any way. It's actually embarrassing. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Laura Leberitz, and I'm here to talk to you about our French program as well as one of our extraordinary teachers. I'm a senior, Ashley Lefebvre. I started speaking French 4 years ago, the same year Madame Lefebvre started teaching in our district. Over these past years, I've been taught how to speak and write in French. However, this program is much more than just a foreign language. My classmates and I were introduced to a new culture, a new style of learning, and a new family, our own little French family that we would cherish until the day we graduate. We've had each other's backs, and without period 4 French 2 freshman year, I wouldn't have some of my best friends. By removing the French program, you are denying kids a fuller education and the opportunity to understand and form relations with the 270 million people worldwide who speak French. Because I speak French, I was selected for a job over my monolingual competition, showing yet another example of the importance this program has, increased job opportunities for its students. By removing the French program, you deprive students of the privilege of knowing Ashley Lefebvre. She is a role model, class of 2021 advisor, trustworthy teacher, a mother, a wife, and the person who inspired me to be a major in French education. Okay, sorry.
Deep breath, girl. You got this.
Go ahead.
As one of her former students, I can attest to her ability to teach in modern yet effective styles, such as her use of Google Classroom and Quizlet. She also has a reminder where students are able to reach out to her for help on homework or scheduling extra help. She educates all of her students beyond a simple textbook. As for the community, she teaches foreign language club at elementary schools across the district, plans trips to the middle schools to promote taking more than one language, and plans sequence trips for her students where we have the opportunity to teach younger kids about French and their language and their culture. Madame Lefebvre inspires the next generation of learners to broaden their horizons and be fearless in learning something new. Removing Ashley Lefebvre would set back Connecticut and deny students access to a powerful, informed, kind, and caring educator. In a place where academics is emphasized, do you really want to remove the future of education? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Burke. I have a daughter that attends Idlehour Elementary. I am also a 20-year veteran in the Harborfield School District. I'm here tonight, probably the same reason why many others are here. I don't really want to berate anyone, but I would like some answers. So I have questions, and I'm hoping that due to those questions, you'll be able to give me an answer. So when I heard on Friday that upwards of 30 teachers were given, let's say they weren't given pink slips, but they were given notice that they could possibly be accessed, I understand that every year it is a district's responsibility to let their teachers know.
You want a question? So you asked a question. So the answer to that first question is the only person that was received a notice, or actually not even a notice.
Okay.
There was not even a paper exchange. It was a conversation.
Okay.
So it was a conversation. That was the answer.
So there was one or there was 30?
There was a conversation.
With 30 people?
Had with the union, not with 30 people. We had mentioned that in the opening of that statement.
If such is correct, if I may, the chair is
Okay, hold on, guys, please, we want to hear the answer.
I can give you the answer, if I may. After I met with Reza, the following, I believe it's either that afternoon or the following day, the chair people and the principals were given direction to go speak to the 30 people. Reza, which I agreed with him, the following week was going to go in on Tuesday to give them more of an official type, have an official conversation with each and every one of during the course of that week on a schedule. But the teachers were told, not by me, not by rumor, they were directly face-to-face told by their chair people and or their principal.
Thank you.
That is correct.
The board did not know. The board did not know. The board did not know.
We did not know.
No, we did not.
Okay, so there you go. All right, so
This
that's,
is when we found out, no, I'm just saying.
no, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, next question.
So my next question to that is, after I found this out, I went ahead and I researched some other districts around our size. And these are off of last year's enrollment numbers, so obviously you updated our enrollment numbers, and I get that, but even so, it's only about 150 kids. So Lindenhurst has an enrollment of 5,940 students, and they have, in combination, 11 directors and superintendents. Connecticut has 5,000, according to this, 5,770 or so of enrollment, and they have 15 directors and superintendents, not including coordinators that are supervising actual subjects. And then Riverhead, which also has about 5,600 students, they have 5 administrators. Okay, so I'm not saying that oversight isn't important. I know you all have to do a PPR. I know that everyone has to be observed, so on and so forth. But we're going after, and it was addressed earlier, people on the ground are going to lose their jobs. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't have an exact understanding of what all of the administrators do. That's the first question. My second question is, I looked at the list of people that were being accessed, and from what I could tell, it was you took the bottom 2 to 3 people from every subject area. As being a high school teacher, I know that you cannot do a 15-to-1 ratio per class and per subject. My daughter is also in a very small school, which since I moved here, it's been talking about being closed. It hasn't yet. But I also know that my child, as well as 20% of the 4th and 5th grade students at Idle Hour, are going outside the district to get remedial help in math.
10 seconds.
They are either going to Mathnasium or, like myself, I am paying for a math tutor. But yet we are going to pull math specialists out of their direction.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Hannah Delalis, and I'm a junior at Connecticut High School.
You don't have to give your names, just so you know.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay.
Okay, I can confidently say that Connecticut High School is my home. But it's not the students that make it my home, it's my teachers. These people go above and beyond to make me and others feel safe, and they give us a place to be ourselves. Unfortunately, many teachers are being let go due to budget cuts. Of course, I'm told this only by word of mouth, because my administration has not felt the need to notify their students about such a big decision. We need budget cuts, but ironically we're spending money elsewhere. For example, we have aides that sit outside of our bathrooms to see if students are vaping or see if we have our ID. And I can assure you from a student's perspective that this is only making the issue worse and not better. Personally, I feel my education is more important than making sure my peers aren't smoking. My education is more important than a new turf field, and it's more important than having armed guards. Armed guards is absolutely insane. We're a school, we are children. We're not a jail, and we're not prisoners. And I spend my free time in the mornings with my teachers, and there's a teacher in this audience that I don't know if he knows how much he means to me, Mr. Brady. I spend my mornings with him, and he's getting cut. He's never been my teacher. I spend every morning with him because he goes above and beyond his teaching duties to make sure I'm okay every single morning. And I do not feel it's fair that he is going to be let go due to budget cuts when we can find other things to cut. I just find this whole situation ludicrous because it's such a rash decision. I don't feel like anyone's putting enough thought into it. These teachers are inspiring me, and I just feel that I just don't have the words. There's no words to explain how upsetting this is to me. I have seen my peers cry the entire day. I hate seeing people like this. And I don't feel the administrators are doing enough to see if their students are okay, like the teachers are. Like Mr. Brady does for me every single morning.
Yeah, he does. Yeah!
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm a junior at Connecticut High School. I also believe that I'm fairly involved in the school's activities. I'm the secretary of the junior class run by Miss Ashley Lefebvre, who might be excess. That's a different topic for right now. I do not believe that the students are being properly represented. I know that we may seem like, oh my gosh, we're ghost students, but in my opinion, that is not the truth. The students are really, a lot of my friends are being helped by teachers and not by the department that is supposed to be helping them, and I don't believe that that's fair. I also believe that we shouldn't cut teachers because of the budget, as my peer Hannah said, that it's not fair. We should find something else to take away. I know that this might not be a big thing, but to me, the teachers are what make the school the school. The students, yes, you're going to be friends with them, but the teachers make the lasting impression. You're not going to remember who said hi to you. You're going to remember the teacher that you talk to every single day. And that's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to remind everybody, for those that maybe came in late, the board just got this information today as a whole. So yes, we've seen the things circulating on social media and so forth. We just got that information today, so I just want to put that as a reminder.
There was no decision to cut
No
any teachers
decisions
at
made,
this
we just got the
moment.
information. Thank you. Yes, Karen.
Alright, well, I'm Jean Hernandez, and I'm also a junior, and I'm also here to advocate for Miss Ashley Lefebvre as well. Not only because she's a great person, like a great teacher, but I feel like as we've all have discussed, just rumors going around that the French department might be taking off of the Connecticut Central School District's curriculum. I personally feel like that is an injustice because I personally, and I know a lot of people in the high school as well, aspire to be linguists. Taking away that French opportunity will take away other future students' opportunities to learn a new language. I'm currently a polyglot. That means a person that can speak 3 or more languages fluently. That means I speak English, Spanish, Italian, and French very fluently. Without the help of Mr. Andre Bederato that is sitting in the audience right now, I never would have been able to focus on my Italian studies, and with Miss Ashley Lefebvre, she has also helped me excel in my French abilities. I just started 2 years ago, and at this point, I'm very, very comfortable in watching, let's say, a show in French. Not only that, of the curriculum and everything, I would also like to discuss, as Taylor said, the guards at the school. I feel like it is personally unnecessary to spend money on armed guards. I feel like more money should be spent on mental health resources because years ago, I fell into a very big depression and I could not find help elsewhere, such as the guidance department or YFS, because any single time I went down there, it was constantly full. So I feel like if you want to get more guards, I feel like it's unnecessary. I feel like you should get more therapists in the school, because in 9th grade, I felt really terrible and I felt like I could not handle stresses of high school anymore. So I would talk to, once again, Mr. Andre Bederato about my problems, and he would help me out and tell me, he would get my mental health in check. And a lot of other teachers that I have had in the past have also, it's not their job whatsoever. It's not their duty to make sure that your mental health is okay, but either way, they still care about it, and I feel like it's putting more stress on them. And if you have more students in their classes, they're going to start to get stressed out, and having more students in the class makes it so that you cannot excel in that class, because you won't have, when the time you need for the teacher to help you, he won't be around, or they won't be around in order to help you, because they'll be busy checking other stuff, making sure other students are okay before they get to you. And I feel like mental health should be more valued than armed guards or any other thing. So I feel like
mental health should be another thing, and yeah, languages.
Thank you.
Good evening. So when I got online, I didn't anticipate going after such dynamic students. They're probably far better speakers than I am. Although I am a graduate of Connecticut High School, so therefore I probably have a little something going on. Yay! So I'm here to speak to you with regard to the teacher and program cuts proposed for the 2021 academic year. I did write it down so I don't forget anything. But as an educator, I can certainly understand how it feels to call a community in which you work home. We commit ourselves to a community for no less than 30 years and dedicate ourselves to the education, enrichment, and well-being of our students. I've witnessed this in the Connecticut teachers, as a student teacher, and now as a parent. I see things through a practical lens, one that understands the budget process and scheduling as an administrator. That's my current role. I also see things as a teacher who couldn't imagine the feeling of not knowing if I'm valued enough to retain, or if I would even ever find my home again after being accessed. I wonder if you know, and I do understand that the board just found out this evening, how difficult it is for a teacher that's been accessed to find another home. With a 7-year callback list, most are hesitant to hire. Do you realize how hard it was for those teachers that received that notice to go back to their classrooms and face their students? My understanding is that some of those given notice are tenured with years invested here, while others are being moved and shifted to places that they had not planned. Again, I do understand the necessity of having the appropriate number of teachers to accommodate the population. But I also understand that there is talk of complete elimination of certain programs of study, AP courses, math specialists, and the French language. And this happens to be someplace that's very special to me. With French being one of the most sought after languages, as is spoken in more than 40 countries around the world, it would be foolish to eliminate it. I have to tell you that I come from a small district with 24 years of experience, and I would be embarrassed to only offer 2 languages to my school district, which is a third of the size of Connecticut. If you are going to make changes to the language program, I'd like to encourage that you revamp the FLES program. Rather than having it be a lunch and learn, have it be an actual program with properly articulated curriculum. Hey, why not include French down there? Because those kids can learn anything. I'm coming from a place of experience because I'm the person that initiated the program in my district, and it's been here since 1999 with a short pause, but I brought it back, so it all worked out. At the end of all of this, I do understand that you have a fiduciary responsibility. And prior to having a full picture of what retirees are planning, because my understanding is that some of them still haven't accepted their offers and such, with the full budget being presented to the board and community, and apparently without notifying the board of these cuts, it's a difficult pill to swallow, especially as we know that the tax cap is planned to be met at 3.1% increase to our taxes. So perhaps thinning out the budget line someplace else could be considered. Maybe a decrease in textbooks or extracurricular purchasing, or even some sort of decrease in other budget lines, such as the proposed increase for arming security. Now I know that this is a hot button topic, I'm on top of it, but I can't see how sacrificing programs and student education is the smart choice while spending more money on other things. And I, of course, defer to the experts who have their finger on the pulse of the community. I know my time is up. I can't believe I spoke for so long, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jen. I'm a teacher. I'm an elementary teacher. I also went to Connecticut, and I have a 2nd grader, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. One of the reason my husband also went to Connecticut, one of the reasons why we moved to this district was because we had such a great experience at Connecticut. One of the experiences that we had were the sports, the different programs, the arts. So when I got wind that some of these programs were going to be cut, also AP courses, electives, were going to be cut, I was flabbergasted. I was so upset. So I felt like I needed to reach out to tons of different parents. And being a 3rd grade teacher, I also know that, FaceTime with students, one-on-one time is crucial and integral to their understanding and their learning. So if you take away, 25K to 25 max for students, that's a large number. It's too big. My son is lucky that he goes to John Pearl and he's a small class size. So he gets, that one-on-one time with his teacher that he needs to flourish as a student and a human. I hope that you really, I know you both had spoke before when you were looking at the numbers as far as the class sizes, and you said
that you don't agree with that, and I really hope that you hold true to that, because I feel like it's horrible. And it's even the high school students, you know, to have, you know, going back to the mental health issues, you know, in this culture, in the world that we are living in today, students need that face time with somebody that they trust, and they see teachers, they're with teachers 6 hours a day. They need smaller classes, and to cut teachers is just not the way to go. You have to look at the programs, see where you can cut, maybe keep programs, you know, like textbooks or computer programs. There has to be another way. There has to be a line by line where you look. Again, administration, where can we kind of tighten the belt as far as administrative duties go? So I just come as a parent, you know, and an alumnus, so thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is William Zinsky, and I'm a junior at Connecticut High School. Last year I took on a new English class known as AP Capstone. My teacher, who was Mrs. Moynihan, was completely new to the class. She had no idea how to teach it. She took so much time and effort out of her own life over the summer, stayed late almost every single day. I can't even tell you. I recently found out that she might not be coming back next year, which is completely absurd to me due to the fact that she has gone above and beyond for this class. In addition, she's not the only teacher who goes above and beyond for the school. There are so many other teachers who deserve to stay. My own mother is a teacher, and if she came home tomorrow telling me that she lost her job due to budget, I would be absolutely upset and distraught. Most of these teachers are parents, their husbands, their wives. Like, they don't deserve this to happen, especially my teacher, Mrs. Moynihan, who again has gone above and beyond for her students and this new program that has come to the school.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Adriana Romano, and I'm a junior at Connecticut High School, and I've enrolled myself in multiple AP classes since sophomore year. One of the classes, as Elena touched upon, is known as AP Capstone, also known as AP Research. It is a two-year course, and is also known as a project-based learning class. And this class teaches students how to become independent and not rely on teachers, which has positively impacted not only myself, but also my peers and the way we carry ourselves throughout our schoolwork. And rumor has it that this class is being cut along with the teachers who educate the students about this class. And I would just like to say that this class has prepared me for my academic experience in college. This class has taught me how to write multiple papers, over 3,000 words within the span of weeks. It has taught me to look for credible sources online, and as well as present presentations from 15 to 20 minutes long. And for a 16-year-old high school student, taking multiple AP classes, honors classes, being enrolled in sports, being enrolled in multiple honor societies, this class has done nothing but good for me. And this class wouldn't be the same without the teachers. This class requires the teachers to take classes during the summertime. They have to use time over the weekends. They have to use their own money to take these classes to ensure that they're communicating the correct ideas which they pick up from classes to give to the students. And to cut a class that requires a handful of students who volunteer themselves to teach this class would only hurt the upcoming students who will be stripped of the option of taking this class. And this class is a great opportunity for students to explore their interests as they are allowed to pick the topics they research, along with allowing ideas to flourish and transpire between the students. And all the teachers in this district are hardworking, and by no means am I here to discredit any of them, but this class requires the teachers to work harder and longer hours, as well as spend extra money on their own tests. And seeing teachers being let go who have impacted my academic skills so greatly, such as Miss Moynihan, Mr. Gillum, and Miss Beauvais, they've created such a strong bond with their students, a bond so strong that they would know everybody's papers, and they know everybody's presentation, and they know the way that we conducted our research, and they know the sources we got. And it absolutely appalls me that it's so last minute to hear that they could possibly be let go. And these teachers, they put their heart and their soul into this class, and so much time, money, and effort, as I stated before. And a lot of them have children, and one of the teachers has a child on the way, and it's so absurd to hear that this is all last minute, and we really just need to take into consideration their home life as well as their work life. So, thank you.
So I'm going to ask the superintendent to say a few words after some of the comments.
How you doing? My name is Jason
Hold on,
Dorr.
I'm going to have the superintendent just respond to that comment.
Go ahead.
So I've heard multiple times that we are cutting APs and we are cutting programs. We did discuss the idea of phasing out the French language. So that what you heard is absolutely a true discussion. There are currently 153 students enrolled district-wide in the French program. That was something that we were going to present to the board as an idea to phase out the program. Not anyone in that program would lose the ability to continue their study of French until they graduated, but it would look at not enrolling 7th grade French moving forward. That is something the board will discuss and take into account when we look at the other programs that we want to keep in place. Not one other program was looked at to be cut. Not one AP class. Those offerings will stay in place. The changes that the administration has looked at working on were enrollment changes. So I'm going to give you an example. At one of the schools, one of the middle schools, in fact, I'll give you both middle schools. English 7 in the middle schools, RMS and OBMS, have an average class size of 15 in RMS. In OBMS, there's an average class size of 13. Folks keep talking about small class sizes. I don't disagree with small class sizes at all. If I could make all the classes 15 or under, I think that would be wonderful. But especially in the K-1-2, where we're teaching kids how to read. And it was something that Ms. Napolitano-Ferno said earlier. She would love to see those class sizes smaller. However, when you hit 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, a class of 15 gives you fewer student voices in the class and less things for the kids to discuss, besides for the fact that our average class sizes in the district in certain content areas are significantly lower than the budget guidelines, which state 24 and above. And the CTA contract, K-6, says 22 to 30. So these are the things that we're looking at as a district. We're not looking to say no more AP capstone. We were looking at classes that are under-enrolled or that where the enrollment has shrunk so much that the class sizes are significantly lower than the 24 in the budget guidelines. There is not one discussion about not offering our students the full program that currently exists, with the exception of the potential for the French language to be phased out. Everything else remained on the table. The changes would be moving from a class average size of 15 to a class average size to 24, to use that as an example. So I know that people are coming up to talk about these different courses. Not one of those was discussed, eliminating those programs.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Jason Dorr. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time tonight. I do understand this is not a courtroom, and surely we can set a better example for our children. With that said, I just wanted to address, the proposed budget cuts for the technical programs. I know this, that it's not if things will fall apart, it's when. And this society already suffers from a lack of qualified craftsmen. And I can only say from my own self, when I was a kid, I had to tough it out through my day just to get to my shop class, because that was the best part of my day. So, my mother was a teacher, and I don't propose any cuts to any teachers. There surely has to be a better way, some way. But as far as the technical classes are concerned, I know there's a lot of kids out there that they need that technical learning, and it's very, very important, especially for the infrastructure that's fallen apart in this country. We really do need some better techs out there, and it all starts in the classroom. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim Peterson, and kind of piggybacking off what he said, I've been a student that's been part of the technical education program for a pretty long time at this point. I'm a senior, and it's been proposed with the budget cuts that one of the tech teachers would have to leave the program. That would leave a huge impact on the tech classes as a whole, considering the fact that there's only 3 tech teachers in the high school. And if one of them were to be cut, that drops about 5 of the slots he could have been teaching. Therefore, that's about, since most tech classes run as half years, it's about 10 different subject matters that they would drop in being able to learn from those tech teachers. In a tech class, you're a lot more benefited by smaller class size. And even if enrollment was down, which I personally think it is not, considering that every tech class I've ever been in has been pretty much filled to at the 24 capacity with things taken into consideration, it would be a very harsh decision to get rid of one of those tech teachers out of the tech department, considering that it would change the tech department as a whole. The tech teachers that would be left would be forced to take up more slots of classes in different subject matters throughout the day, and it would be much harder for them to go from teaching automotive first period to second period teaching power mechanics to third period teaching robotics to fourth period teaching electricity. It would just be significantly harder for their day, since it's not a traditional class. They would have to teach many different subject matters back to back to back, and it would be impossible for them to give their undivided attention to their trade that they're focusing on. If that one tech teacher were to be cut, it would impact the future of the tech department, and that tech department does lead a lot of kids into vocational studies like electrician work, construction work, cementing, plumbing, and engineering, all very important things in our society. And it would be very negative impact on our school district if we were to cut a teacher from that program. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Upon hearing of the news of the potential loss of numerous teachers within our district, I was quite shocked. When inquiring further, I found many familiar names on this list, and as a member and student of the Connecticut community, this is not something I could stay silent about. While I respect all of you sitting before me today, I would have committed a gross misstep had I stayed quiet about what we are all here for today. A teacher is more than just an educator for a student. They are a role model, a leader, and an integral part of our growth, not only as students of Connecticut, but as citizens of our community. For some students, seeing that certain teacher is the best part of their day and serve as that beacon of hope in our adolescent years. Our teachers are precious, and they are the foundation of the many successes awarded to Connecticut. A loss of even a single educator could result in the most disastrous results, both personally and publicly within the school district. I understand that at the end of the day, in most cases such as this, the decision comes down to money. While this is reality, the cutting of our teachers cannot be. Projects can be pushed back, initiatives paused, and resources reallocated. What must not ever be intruded upon is the sanctity of a connection a student develops with their teacher. Behind the teachers on this prospective list stand an immeasurable number of students whose lives have been touched by these adults. As not only a student and community member, but as a young person who has had the unique opportunity to work closely with many of these amazing individuals, I implore you to prevent this from occurring. As the Board of Education and leaders of the community, the sole purpose of the board lies in its name, to preserve education. Education is nothing without our teachers, and without our teachers, our students are denied perhaps the most important learning tool afforded to them. I thank you for your time and trust that the correct decision will be made. Thank you.
We are here on behalf of all the students and teachers being affected by the budget cut rumors. The teachers rumored to be cut, including Ms. Vager, have impacted us in ways unimaginable. She has become a mother of our small class of Period 3 English. When I was told about rumors of her excess, I broke into tears because she has inspired me so much more than just teaching me ethos, pathos, and logos. Ms. Vager has impacted my educational career as well as my mental health. She has been someone we can go to no matter who, what, when, where, or why. I've never seen someone so excited to see her students succeed. She has made every day a better day, and she is more important than a turf field. She is more important than a new gym floor, and her presence makes me feel 100 times safer than placing guns in the school or new doors. Her 13 years of teaching, along with her participation and enthusiasm of the Dr. Seuss program, where we got the opportunity to teach English to young students, and has made me consider taking a career in teaching, which I wouldn't have thought of before. She has provided more guidance than any guidance counselor, more support than any administrator, and more help than the YFS department. And teachers in this school mean so much more to us than any material item. They make us feel more protected and safe than guns or doors will ever make us feel. The relationships with teachers, especially teachers we can relate to and make us want to participate, are the reason some of us come to school in a place where it can be difficult to fit in. Our teachers make us feel like we belong. Children have lost their ability to eat, sleep, or peace of mind due to fear of losing their favorite teachers. And that may sound dramatic to you, but that is the only way I can make you understand how much these teachers mean to us.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Sewell, and I've been in the Connecticut Central School District for 17 years as a physical education teacher, coach, and I'm a CTA union representative at the high school. I stand before you all tonight. I was not planning on coming up here tonight, to be honest with you. I just felt I needed to. We have amazing students, we have amazing staff. This community is just a truly incredible place here in Suffolk County. And I hope by me standing up here, my very first time in 17 years at this podium, speaks volumes to the importance, the job that all of you have in the next coming weeks. I'm asking everybody up there, not just you, Ms. August, I'm asking everybody up at that podium right now, sorry, up at the desk, excuse me, I'm at the podium, to really consider what's at stake for our students and our staff. We have some of the most incredible people in this district. I represent about 180 of them at the high school, and I can tell you this past couple of days, the conversations I've had to have with a few of them have been extremely difficult. Not just as a union rep, not just as an educator, but as a human being. Whatever we can do in the next couple of weeks, as a board, as an administration, as CTA, as students, as a community, to try to do what we can to save jobs, to save programs, because Connecticut, like I just said, is so special. I'm from a small district on the North Shore, Kings Park, a lot smaller than Connecticut, but the similarities are there. We all care about each other. Teachers, students, staff, security, custodial. I can go on the list. You understand where I'm going with this. I am pleading with the board and I am pleading with the administration over the next couple of weeks to please do what you can. And please, let's try to figure this all out together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. My name is Frank de Blasi. Many of you have seen me at previous meetings with the gun control and stuff like that. And a lot of you know I am for the implementation of the security guards in the district. I am a graduate of Connecticut High School from 30 years ago. My heart and soul is in the district. My kids go there. And I just wanted to talk about the gun control for a little bit. And in response to Jackie's criticism that she's been getting a couple of times tonight, Jackie is the kind of person who has served 20, as you probably know, has served 20 years in law enforcement on a government level and on a local level, putting her life on the line to protect, our communities. And she brings a lot to this board. And anything that she has to say really is going to help and is very valuable to the situation with this gun control issue. And I think she should be taken very, very seriously in her comments on whatever she has to say about that. She brings a lot to the table with that experience. And if I could just address the crowd for a second, I wanted to just say something to the students that came up here tonight.
Sorry, you have to address me, I'm sorry.
I have to address you?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say something to the students who came up here tonight. I'll talk to you, but they'll listen. Okay. As far as all the students that come up here tonight, like I said, I am a graduate of Connecticut from 1990, and I recognize, I really like all of the inspirational things that they said. They really seem to be into the district. They love their teachers. They love the fact that they know they need a lot of, they want to get more mental help in the school and stuff like that. They really seem, positive-minded in keeping the district, really good and pure in what it is. But I just wanted to say to them, the reason I am for the gun control is that we as parents really care about the kids and love the kids. I have a daughter that's in Connecticut High School, and there's not a day that I wake up where I let her go to school and hope that for some reason, God forbid, she doesn't come home due to a school shooting. Okay, and I just want all the kids in the audience who came up today and said stuff to realize that 30 years ago was a long time when I graduated. Okay, and the world is a lot different today than it was 30 years ago. And they really need to understand that we're not trying to implement these guards to cause any anxiety with the kids. We're not trying to do anything, dramatic to them. We're trying to make them understand that this is something that is needed in today's world. 30 years ago, having guards in the school, if you went into a neighborhood and saw armed guards in the school, you think, wow, this is a bad neighborhood. Now you go into a school district today without armed guards and you say, whoa, these guys are not protected. When you implement guards in a school, it shows people that come into the community that not only do you take precaution in keeping the school safe, but a safe school is also a safe community. And that's what we're really trying to do for the kids these days. And I just want them to understand that. It's not about traumatizing them. It's not about trying to, like I said, add anything to the school that's going to cause fear or anxiety in them. But we're trying to show them that we really care about them, we care for their safety, and we want to keep the school what it is.
Thank you.
All right?
Good evening, my name is Maya Iacino, and I am a junior at Connecticut High School. Not only am I a junior, but I'm a person, just the same as every teacher in this room. They're all people. And I feel like we're looking at them as toys that we're throwing away. They've been here, they've done their job, they made us happy, but now that there's an issue, something new's coming, we have to do new things, let's toss them away. And all day today, I was dealing with the struggle of just being so upset. Just to find out the news from one of my students, one of my classmates. I didn't even find out through the administration. And I don't even know what's correct and what's a rumor. And the thing that worries me is when I hear a name like Mr. Brady. He's an amazing teacher. I am so bad at math. I'm so bad. But when I was in his class, I did amazing because of the relationship that I had with him. It's not only about education, it's about how a student and a teacher can react together. I feel that when I'm in a classroom where I cannot connect with my teacher, I do not do good. I don't do well. I just feel like for me to succeed and for us to follow the Connecticut ways, we have to go back on understanding that it's not about money. It's not about whether our gym floors look shiny. It's about whether the students are happy, and the teachers too. Everybody should be happy. Everybody should be able to have a say in what they want to say. So if I hear from another classmate that something might be true, it breaks my heart. Because these teachers deserve a chance, just the same as any other person should. I just hope that after hearing everybody, all the students, this is only a good handful of people I've talked to today. I've talked to almost every single class I've been in, and all of them have been extremely upset about these circumstances. All of them have said, oh, I wish I could come because I want to say something. I want to put my foot down and take a stand for something. But some of them can't make it here. I represent the entire body. They represent the entire body. The teachers represent it. We all want happiness. So when you're taking something away, all it's doing is breaking. It's breaking us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sal. I'm going to take this a little different way. That's something that I'm more familiar with, which is the financials. The first step is that if teachers have to be excess, I feel badly, but the last hired will be the first to be let go. It's just the natural order of probably the teacher's contract, but it's the normal action of seniority. So as much as you love the teachers, if some have to go, those newer, younger ones are probably going to be the ones who are going to go. Is it fair? Not always, but is it fair to get rid of some of the older teachers? There's that trade-off. Also, you're dealing with a financial issue that is right in my wheelhouse, and that is a budget. I've done budgets for 40 years through a bank. I've done my own personal budget. I've done my own trade-offs. I'm looking at a trade-off right now. I have a car that's almost 7 years old. Do I try and throw a few bucks into it and keep it going? Or is it time to kind of get a newer one, a more efficient one? Which way is the money better spent? Now, if it breaks down, I don't really have any choice. Okay, I'm gonna have to go for a car one way or another. The difference with you is that your biggest ticket item are salaries. And there's only so many books you can cut, and only so many floors you can miss a waxing on, and only so many roofs to different buildings you can go another year on, or 2 years on. Or let's not buy 5 new buses this year. Let's see if we can keep those 10-year buses going. So it's not a case of, gee, we want to cut this stuff. It's that sometimes you got to make small cuts in order to keep the major functions functioning. And that's really a tough job. The taxes go up, and I'm talking about the bad old days when, I mean, I've been in this district 42 years. 41 years ago, I sent my first daughter to school. Today, I brought 2 grandchildren to school. So I'm running through Connecticut over 40 years. And I think the time has come that, you know, we can't go back to those 7.5%, 6.5% tax increases, because as good as the school is, and as good as the community is, if people can't afford to live here, you're not helping across the board. There's a whole trade-off that you've got to figure out. And books, and we spent a lot of money with wipes to keep the school clean and safe. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. But we found the money somewhere, but that money's got to be taken from someplace else. And if we're not taking safety in terms of cleanliness or in terms of the safety of our children, if we don't make that paramount, what good is having a school? If everybody's sick, if everybody is injured, we need to stop worrying about, you know, if it's fair, and we got to do what's right. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for here tonight. The only problem that I have is that it seems that these meetings are the only communication you have with all the board and the place together. So many teachers I've had growing from K through 12, well, preferably 9th grade, I've met so many loving and wholesome teachers. Teachers that care so much about every single student and take the time out of their regularly scheduled days to care about us. The higher ups in this district have no communication with us students in our district. Within the guidance in YFS, I have never been able to feel comfortable and communicate with any of them, or was given the time as the offices are usually full. I can proudly say that I have suffered mental illnesses and have been in the district, and the only people in this district who have given me hope to stay into my career of being a student is the teachers that I've had growing up. Instead of acting in a way of monarchy on your stage, come down to the schools more often and show the students you as an individual care as a teacher who is on the risk of losing their jobs. And make students smile still. Come to freshman awareness. Do the things with the civics club. We understand that Mrs. Goodwin emails you every time that we have these. It would be an honor to have each of you at our Student of the Month assemblies where you say that we don't get recognition. I'd like to finish with my words by introducing myself. Hi, my name is Marilyn Destiano, a freshman who's very passionate about the teachers who've become parental figures within this district. And thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm a 9th grader, and I'm deeply disturbed by the idea of having an armed guard in or near our school. The whole point of even having a guard is to keep guns out of our school. So what has been discussed is having a gun in our school to keep guns out of our school. I just don't know how that makes sense. Of all the things that the school could change, having guns around our students is not one of them. One of the things we could work on is having smaller classes. I'm in a science class that has 25 kids. My teacher has 3 classes every day of 25 students. That is just too much for, even our students to be able to retain our information, to even actually use it every day. Like many other students, I'm also one of the, lucky kids that take 2 foreign languages. I take Spanish and French. I also take English, shout out to Miss Goodwin. Not to mention how much I love my other language teachers, Senora Trainer and Madame Lefebvre. Connecticut offers the seal of biliteracy. My goal is to be able to get not only seal of biliteracy, but seal of triliteracy in all three. But my chances of getting my seal of triliteracy are being taken away, like, by any chance of, whatever the board decides on. I feel like the students should have a say in what programs are taken away at these. It's not just that we don't get a say in what happens with our future. Getting rid of teachers and getting an armed guard is just not the way that Connecticut should go, especially not for the near future at least. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Vanessa. I'm actually a parent, and that's the reason I'm up here. I am fairly new to the district, having been here about 2 years now. And so please excuse my ignorance. I have questions and I have comments, and it's in no way an attack on anyone. Just sitting here, from hearing the speakers tonight and the students, I realize that there's just so much of this could have been avoided. To go out and have conversations with units and then direct the principals to have conversations with the staff is completely irresponsible. My thing is, does the board not advise or direct the district administrators? Isn't that how it should work? That you keep saying that the board had no idea, or that you're just finding this out today or yesterday? That's unacceptable. I'm so sorry. But it went out, and the kids, I have a junior in high school, and my daughter has not stopped talking about this and the teachers being let go since it happened. And it's more stress on them. These kids are up here, they're crying, they're stressed over the potential, and it's just the potential. It's not even anything that even was proposed. It's just the potential of losing a dear teacher. That to me is completely irresponsible on every person up there, because we are the adults. And we are the ones that need to make the correct decisions for them. So the discussions should not have happened. The discussion should have been between these people up here before anything was said to these kids or anything was said to the staff. That is where we need you guys to be. And like I said, it's not an attack on anyone. I have not met any of you guys before, ever. This is one of my first meetings. But sitting here and listening to the kids, that's where my concern is. The kids crying, the kids stressed. They're having SATs. These are kids that are applying to colleges. They don't need the stress of, we don't know if we're going to lose our teachers. And that's where we need to do better. We all need to do better. There needs to be a better relationship up here between administrators and the board, because you guys are the ones that are making the decisions for our kids. Thank you.
Can I answer you? I want to answer you on something. I just want to say this to you. For that, I will absolutely apologize, because I don't know what went on, but the board was not notified, and an executive today, was there loud voices? Absolutely. Do you know why? Because enough's enough. People said to me 2 meetings ago, it was actually the CTA said to me, and actually Lee might have said it too, that I have to trust administration. Lee, you told me that's it. Trust administration. I'm not going to trust administration. I'm going to trust nobody. I'm going to be suspicious until proven, until I get evidence and proof, because of situations just like this. All it took was an email. All it took was somebody reaching out to us. It has been addressed, I can promise you that. It will not happen again. That I can also promise you. And like I said, we can't, well no, it's not going to happen again. Trust me on this one. Because what's going to end up happening is, we're going to unite. We are all united, believe it or not. You don't see it right now, but you will see it going forward. We're not going to have it where it's okay to leave us in the dark and not in the know. Because if that continues to happen, it will be addressed and things will be changing very soon. Very soon.
And I appreciate that, but you also need to have parent involvement from community, not just, and yeah, you're a parent, but not have a parent as a board trustee. Have a parent representative. You have a student government representative, you can also have a parent representative. And for you to say,
to say that, you know, we're not gonna work, you guys need to work together. I mean, it's.
I will say this to you though, everybody
crazy
thinks
that I'm sitting here and Miss Aguilas, Aguilas, kept saying, I didn't know until today or until recently. That to me, I wanted to scream and jump out of my chair. Because I can't believe that. That is just unacceptable, and that's just my personal opinion. It's unacceptable.
One thing I gotta say, no, it's unacceptable, 100%, and you wanna know something? Like I've said, and I'll say that we said it the other night, not for nothing, we have tried everything to bring transparency forward. I have told people, run for the board. You don't have to trust me on anything, but one thing I will say is 100% true. Until I was here, because I stood there for many years, stood here and I fought for things. I mean, go back to all the videos and all the old board members. They'll tell you I stood there and I was always up at that podium for the last few years. Not for nothing, but when you come to this side, you think it's all, everybody's being nice, everybody's happy, everybody's getting along. It is,
no,
and
you can't see, that doesn't
you
show.
don't know what goes on behind the doors. And that's why I tell you, when people tell me, trust administration, you know what I tell them? You gotta earn my trust.
And I trust, because I'm sorry, my daughter is a junior, and I've had nothing but good experiences with the high school, and I have a 5th grader, nothing but good experiences.
Thank you. We have people.
No, that's fine. But don't worry about it, because I'll email you guys when you know my name.
I just want to say one thing. You did mention about parent involvement and having a parent advocate. We do. We have PTAs. And we have presidents of all the PTAs that we do talk to all the time. So we do have parental involvement. We do talk to the PTA, high school parents, the council presidents. I myself was a council president.
I'm on the PTA. I'm a vice president. And I've
never met of what, the high school?
I don't know.
Of the high school? And I talk to council all the time. You figure out I talk to council presidents all the time. So
we'll send you the meetings.
Thank you.
That's why we had the meetings in the elementary school once a month. We would get to know everybody.
That also goes both ways, because I'm the SEPTA president, and I am at almost every single one of these board meetings.
Yes, you are.
Because of stuff like this. I'm gonna piggyback off of that awesome comment, because that's what I feel. I feel like it's watching the political debates on TV. It's who's mad at who this week, who's not talking to who this week, what decision was made without this one. Not just you, but you, the CTA's mad, the board's mad. And I know we've brought up the rumors board, that there's nobody to clarify. I feel like that's what we as parents are trying to do all the time. Asking questions, did so-and-so really say this? What happened with admin? Why? That needs to stop. I don't know if you want to bring the rumors board back, but also, the teachers are the ones who make this district what it is. They make our children, they play such an intricate role in our child's development and serve such an amazing, important part of their lives, that just saying accessing teachers to me without looking at other avenues, like I know closing schools is brought up, and parents are not very happy about that, but there is many other avenues that could have been taken. I don't know why or where the arming guards and accessing teachers came into play. There is no correlation between the two of them. When I started this journey, it was unfortunately on the heels of a very horrific event in a high school in Florida. I'm the one that formed the action committee. I had petitions signed. I've gone to board meetings and annoyed every single one of you for weeks on end. I finally got a committee. We finally got this on the budget. There were numerous, packed out board meetings with parents saying yes, 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 please, 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 please. And I personally feel, I don't know if it's the truth, I feel like somebody knew that this was now, it's something that was happening, and they are the ones that correlated teachers being fired with arming guards. I've heard students now say it. I've heard parents now saying it. In none of the meetings was this mentioned. We have gone over budgets. We've gone over where the money's going to come from, how we're going to implement this. And they were never one and the same. It was never mentioned. It was never even a subject that was brought up. We're a community, and we're supposed to put aside our differences and find common ground. I don't know where or why it was brought up, but it was. And I just feel that now, watching it all take place, it's disheartening, because teachers are not something that should be used along with the safety of our students as the caveat to it. it should not be. And I don't know where it came in, I don't know why it came in, but that's what's being said, and it needs to be straightened out. Thank you.
I'd actually rather be singing because I don't like to publicly speak, but, okay. I have 2 children in an elementary school currently. My third will be there in 2 years. I have a nephew at the high school, another nephew at the middle school, and a niece attending the same elementary as my own children. I also spend a great deal of time visiting all 7 elementary schools multiple times throughout the year due to my career. My concern for our student safety and staff safety covers a tremendous area. Therefore, I have tremendous support for armed guards in all of our schools. From what I've gathered as a community member, I'm an alumni, a mom, an aunt, I work with the schools. It seems we're doing a fine job with mental health. I don't know much about it. I have small children at this time, but it's a huge component in battling the problem we're facing, but it's not foolproof. There are always those who will slip through, and unfortunately the innocent ones will be the ones who suffer for it. We can provide the best mental health to every student in the district, but that therapy only lasts for a short time. Who's watching them after they leave our excellent services? Adam Lanza was 20 years old when he attacked Sandy Hook. Anything he could have possibly received during school would have ended 2 years prior. Even if the best help is provided, once the student, current or past, enters the school with a weapon, our current staff is powerless to stop the attack. That moment, mental health intervention is over. As an extra measure, we can install metal detectors, locks, bulletproof glass, you name it. All these safety measures are only good to delay the attacker. They don't take them down. If they should fail, then what? We're still left waiting for the police to arrive. And in that time, one life lost is just too many. And if you really feel unarmed security is enough to stop the attack, why not call more unarmed security to the scene? Just get more of them, but we call police. Why? Because the only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Everyone knows that. And if you're not comfortable with guns in schools, are you still uncomfortable when the policeman's gun is the only thing that's going to bring your child home from school that day? You're still depending on that gun to save your child's life. The only issue here is response time, because those guns are not readily available on the scene. It takes time to arrive at the school. You're not giving them the best chance of survival, your children. Thank God the police are there to fight against these attackers, but they can't fight against time. No matter what studies are presented against armed guards, logic will always tell you response time means everything. That's why we have ambulances, fire hydrants, all of that. Every driver in this room moves over when they see an ambulance, don't they? And why do we do that? We do that because we don't want to interfere with that response time. That response time that we interfere with could actually kill somebody. You don't want armed guards in the school, you don't want to give our children that chance that somebody's there. You're interfering with that response time. And you're interfering with their chance to survive if an armed attacker should enter the school. There's also been discussion of which schools to arm, and this is an important reason why we must arm all the schools, not just the high school, even though the high school and the secondary schools have a higher chance of being attacked statistically. I'm sorry. And the reason why, although the statistics do show that attacks are more likely at the secondary level, then the elementary level also needs equal protection because children that are older naturally develop survival instincts. We heard recently at a board meeting from a young man who graduated and stood here and told us about a plan he and his friends devised on their own to escape if something should happen. I have 2 elementary age children. I work with mostly elementary age children, and they have no idea how to survive. They're depending on teachers, administrators, and other staff in the building. They're depending on people who have not, who have not had any active shooter training to save them from an active shooter. You're asking people like me, when I go visit a school, to take on that role to protect your child. I don't have active shooter training. I'm a mother. I have survival instincts, and I wouldn't be able to do it. But thank you.
Quick thing I just wanted to come back up for after listening to all the children speak. We keep talking about children's mental health. Such a huge issue. And if I'm going to be honest, we are completely failing our children. We're trying so hard, but really it's like shoveling sand at the beach. It's almost impossible, but we're really trying. And I'm hearing all these children speak, and the biggest the thing that brings them all together, these teachers, is they're all talking about how these teachers have had such a positive effect on their mental health, how they help them get through the day. We're an already overburdened school district with our social workers and stuff. They just don't have the time, from what I'm understanding. And when a child makes a connection, I mean, we've all experienced, there's been just so much tragedy, and we need to fix that. And I have to say that something that stuck out for me that somebody had recently said was that, you know, all the mental health in the world's help won't help, but yes, it will. Yes, we have a lot of other things we have to do in the meantime, but these teachers, they're the connection right now until we could figure it out. And even after we could figure it out, they're such an integral part of it all. That could be the one person in that child's life who they look forward to, who they feel valued by. You know, all these children go home. Not everybody is a television show. They have a lot that they're dealing with. Children come to school, I like to say, with an invisible backpack. You don't know what they're carrying in it, and this is how they have to get through their day. So while I do understand that it's a numbers thing, and you know, we have budget issues and things like that, you can't really place a value on the mental health and well-being of our children, because that no matter how good of a grade they get, or how great they score on a test, or how fast they run, or how hard they hit, it doesn't matter if they don't have that component, because they're not going to be successful, because it's going to plague them for their entire life. So if anything else doesn't stick out to you, you have to really think about their mental health and how important these teachers are to all of these children.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samantha Wilkinson. I'm in 10th grade, and I'm not here to ask about the rumors with the teachers. I'm here to tell you that these teachers are not only here to help us with our education, but some of them are the reason I wake up to come to school every day. Some of these teachers have made a huge impact on my life. I'm aware you guys, the board, were just informed today about all these special teachers getting let go, but you guys are all about what's good for the students, right? I don't think you guys know how much of an impact on us, the student body, will do letting these teachers go. One of the teachers that has made a huge impact on my life, I don't know if she is here tonight, but Miss Sarouche, and I'm not sure if she's one of the 30 teachers, which I still think is absurd, 30 teachers getting let go. But anyways, Miss Sarouche was my former Spanish teacher. Not only has she taught me Spanish, but she has taught me lessons and given me the best advice, and has taught me about the real world. And she was the only one there when no one else was available. And yes, I know we have guidance counselors in the school for us to talk to, but these teachers aren't getting paid to make sure we are all okay every day. They are there to teach, but what makes all of these teachers great is that they do care, and they are always there for you to talk to. I strongly believe letting go of all these amazing teachers is wrong, because like I said, it's not just not an impact on them, it's on us, the students, and their families as well. That's all. Thank you for your time.
My name is Kate Engeldrum, and I'm in 11th grade. I would like to point out that letting go of Miss Moynihan would be a terrible mistake. I had Miss Moynihan for AP Seminar last year, and I can't imagine a better teacher to teach that class. AP Seminar is very different than any class we had ever taken in high school, so we need a very strong teacher for that class. She put in extra time and effort every single day, more than I've ever seen from most teachers, to make sure that we were prepared. She came in early and she stayed late. She pushed us to produce the best work that we possibly could, and I thank her for everything she taught me, and it would be a shame to deprive future students of her gift of teaching. Lastly, I just want to quickly mention that I don't personally take French, but from what I've observed, I've never seen such passion for foreign language and culture than that of the French students at Connecticut High School. So cutting their program would be a shame. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Emma, and I'm sorry, but I feel like we're attacking you a little bit, the board. We are trying to show you how much we care. I still go to the middle school to visit my teachers. The fact that I'm a 9th grader and my 5th grade teacher still remembers my name is amazing. I take 2 languages, and the loss of one of them will be devastating for me. I know that it's hard for you to find space in the budget to keep these teachers, and we know that you are working hard, but think about how many people have come up today to defending these teachers. It shows how important this is to all of the students of Connecticut. Thank you.
Thank you. This is going to be the last speaker of the night. I don't see anybody behind you, so.
I don't want another whole 3 minutes. I do, if possible, to have a
question answered. Everyone's talking about, well, we know that armed guards are going to cost between 500,000 and 1.1 million. If not, then I'll go back and look at those. No, correct me if I'm wrong, because I looked at the slideshows, so yeah.
We got the initial budget on Friday night, and Bridget, can you answer that, what the line item was? The increase. The increase to the security.
It's $500,000.
Okay.
It's already on.
So I think what people are very concerned about, and I'm not for it, against, which I really appreciate. I'm not for it or against, I'm just flat out. If we're putting something in and whether it's armed guards or whether it's, I don't know, we can come up with, what was that? Okay, ice cream. I'll go with your addition of ice cream. If we're putting something in and we're taking something out, I understand that enrollments are going down. I do, I get that. But to me, it's not, I'm not getting the weight. I don't understand. So maybe if you guys could explain that to me and maybe explain it to everyone else, people would stop asking you whether you're firing a teacher to armed guards.
I think it was very clear before the community spoke. We got a budget on Friday. I was up until 2:30 in the morning. What time did my board get an email from me? 2:44
I was
a.m.
on you till this morning.
2:44 a.m. So to think that I don't care, because I kind of saw that floating around in Facebook land, to say something, but you don't know me and how much I put behind the scenes. It's not just us sitting at this mic. I come to your schools. I send out emails. I advocate for a lot of things. A lot of things. We're going to be completing my 6th year here. I'm sure Dr. Adams can tell you all the things I fought for and accomplished here as a board, as a unity as a board. We get the budget on Friday. This whirlwind was going around about potential excess. I see pink slips, I see this, I see that, and I say to myself, well, do I engage with the public to maybe not communicate very well? So I stay off Facebook. But I'm telling you right now, the board today met. We met as a board today. We did not meet last Friday. We did not meet last Thursday. We meet every other Tuesday. That is when the administration made these proposals to us. It is up to the board to decide what they do with these proposals. They, us, we get a vote. They don't. They make the proposal. So I just need to make that very clear. No matter how we got the information, the end result does not change. We, the 5, make the vote.
But can you guys tell me where the money for this additional thing that it is obvious many want, where is that money coming from? If it's not coming from?
I mean, here's the issue. Yeah, I think people don't understand this.
No.
Okay. You guys are thinking that it's like this is one big pot of money and we're pulling it out and if we save teachers, it will be because we're able to sustain and able to make smaller class sizes, which I said I ran on, and I truly believe it. As last year, actually it was this year, any teacher in elementary school that had over 23 children was entitled by board vote, which I put out there with you guys, to have an aide. We paid for an aide this year. It was something. Teachers were very happy with that they at least got that, because we couldn't do everything last minute with the extra enrollment the last weeks before school started. So what I'm saying to you is we have opened other sections to make smaller class sizes. We're going to try to do everything we can to save as many jobs as we can. As a board, we've discussed that just in general. But it doesn't even go near that line. The way you guys are saying it is cut that line. So if we cut that line, okay, that's 500,000. That's not 3 million. So we cut that line. That's where you can say it starts. But here's the thing. Even if we still have to have work, I can't put 5 kids in a class and say they're in class. We do have to do our fiduciary responsibility to the people. As much as I said to you, we're going to find the money. There is money in the budget to find. It's just a matter of finding it. You understand? But what I'm saying to you is we only just got it. I was on the phone with Mylene until 1 in the morning. I've been on the board 8 months. This is my first budget season. She was helping me until 1 in the morning, line by line. Line by line she went on over it with me. line by line. Jackie, put a question mark. Jackie, put a star. Jackie, that's a good question. Do this. She was helping me, 100%. And she said, I'm gonna go now because I'm gonna keep ripping it apart. I said, enjoy, I gotta go to sleep. But what I'm telling you is, I think you guys are prematurely, this whole thing should have never happened like this.
Never.
Totally premature. Should have never ever went down. And I said to you, if you want my apology for something, that's what you will get. The apology that is unacceptable. And I was very contentious in executive, that I can say, because of how angry I was by it. Because I don't do things like that. I don't like to hurt people or to do things so negatively. To put it, I don't want my nieces and nephews coming to me and saying, teachers were crying in the hallway at the high school. I never want to hear that. It gives me chills. I don't want to hear that. If we talk about mental illness, that causes more anxiety and illness. That causes more problems. I don't want that. I will never be for that. But at the same time, you have to understand that until I got on this side, which is why I'm the newest one I could say, you don't really realize how much it really takes going line by line. We can't say, let's just cut arm guards right now, because I said it the other day. I'm all for it, I'm like, cut it, let's see. You can't save 3 teachers cutting arm guards if there's no children enrolling. Enrollment went down 2,000 students.
It should have been done little by little for the last 6 years.
Okay. Like when I got on last year, you were gonna get excess, and we actually were saving people. When I was on 1 month, I was on 1 month.
So so I guess my question to all of you is, the next step at this point is you guys are gonna sit down and figure out how to shift things around, and we're hoping that there can be some sort of compromise and some sort of...
But what I'm saying is, armed guard, it's not, if you have armed guards, we're laying off teachers. That's not, like I said, I think what's happening is people
don't understand where you're getting the money if she's telling us that we're, $3 million in the red.
We can save money in other places. The problem is, what I'm saying to you is, it's politics at its worst when you say children's safety is not as important as teachers are going to get laid off. They shouldn't even go in the same line. You understand? Teachers staying and having small class sizes is extremely important. But don't ever mitigate that kids' security and safety is just as important.
Right. And okay? I think there's...
Especially in today's day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The one other question that I have is, with these armed guards, how are they, and I did look at the PowerPoints, and who are the people that are going to be these armed guards?
We can't answer that question right now.
Okay. So I will take that as an answer.
I can tell you this though, I can tell you that we can save a lot of money in unemployment insurance by not cutting teachers. Okay, so we don't have to fund that line.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, last speaker of the night.
I was going to say something nice. I still disagree with you.
That's okay.
And that's okay. As a union president, I have to watch out for that. I think you understand that.
I know it's business.
Mr. Napolitano Ferno knows, I think, I hope they all know, and there have been instances when this has occurred. I don't cut my face to spite my nose, or cut my nose to spite my face, however that goes. There are many issues in this district that I'm sure we'll be working together on going forward to make us the best that we can be. So, and you owe your family a spaghetti and meatball dinner, because they were advocating very strongly for you tonight. All right, so.
I'm the baby, I'm the baby.
Oh, if I would have known. Jeez. But going forward, just a couple of comments. I have a folder full of talking points and quotes and messages from the teaching staff and from some community people about the cuts. And it's something I think the board needs to understand, maybe more so than administration, because I think they understand it and they're coming maybe from a different place. We're in a day and age where we are spending so much time, our administrators are telling our teachers, differentiate. Very difficult to do. I did it in this classroom for 35 years. Difficult to differentiate when you have 25 bodies. It's difficult to do that when you have 18 or 20 bodies. So what I said earlier is we have an opportunity to take advantage of
the smaller class sizes. Also, the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues we've been talking about for a long time is mental health in our students. At a time when we're asking teachers to spend more time focused on that problem kid who sits in the back of the classroom, out of one mouth we're saying that, then out of the next we're talking about cutting teachers and putting more of those kids who sit in the corner into a classroom. It doesn't make sense. I understand better than most the financial aspect of this, okay? But you gotta make tough choices, and the choices should not be the people on the front lines, pure and simple. When you have situations, you have such a money crunch, and I'm gonna use a specific example. You have a money crunch of $2.5, $3 million, yet you're filling an assistant principal job at a Sycamore Elementary School. That to me is a waste of money. Okay, you have another district administrator who originally worked for BOCES, who was paid as a consultant, who is now getting paid by the Connecticut School District, okay, who you're not getting rid of the person. What you're doing is you're moving that person and you're splitting what they're doing. That has to be looked at. You have two administrators, special education. We got along here many, many years with big numbers with one administrator. They have 3 IEP coordinators. They've got chair people. You don't need 2 administrators at the special ed level. Those are the things. And the people who are making the recommendations, okay, someone kind of referred to it before. Those are the same people that are part of the administrator's cabinet. They're not going to cut themselves. You need a Board of Education, okay, and strong leadership, okay, to say enough is enough. That's what you need to do. You can't be asking teachers to do more, to focus on the kid in the corner, to differentiate instruction, to bring higher level thinking skills and science experiments to classrooms when you're going to be overloading those classrooms, making it unsafe, okay, and unrealistic to perform anything at any high level in any program. And you can't get rid of a French program because we are Connecticut. And Connecticut, over my 38 years being here, maybe we have some new people who don't understand the culture of Connecticut. The culture of Connecticut is we don't destroy the educational program here and dismantle it because we are running into some difficulties. We work it out, we find the money, we get rid of what's really wasteful, okay, and we continue to be the great school district that we are. That is your charge for the next few weeks. Thank you very much.
All right, sit down, let's get this meeting rolling. Yeah, we got a recommendation.
Go into executive session.
Wait, what?
Go eat some meatballs.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I guess we're going into exec session.
Yes, but we're gonna come back out into public to finish the meeting, just so you know.
No,
We're only going into
before we do that, we still did not discuss the corona and how we're going to go further. Are we gonna take it by week or 2 week by 2 week? What are we doing?
I didn't hear a lot from the parents, so I don't know.
So it's a board decision, so.
Do the teachers have any opinion on?
What is your opinion on the coronavirus?
I'm sorry. Open up the mic. Open up the mic.
Tony, can you step up here for a moment? What is it, because you're the union president, what is your guys' take or the teachers' take or parents on field trips with the coronavirus? If it's outside in the fields and it's outside.
I can't speak for the whole association. I can speak for myself as president and what I would tell people at my board of directors meeting. Just first of all, just give me 30 seconds. I just wanted to touch on, today we had a board of directors meeting, just so it's clear to the entire board and to the administration. We as an association are not solely blaming the armed guards, okay? We had a discussion on this, and there's a lot of mixed feelings. No, it goes to the point of this, that I want to just point out to all of you, that we are trying to be as transparent as possible in giving out the information in regards to the current situation with the proposal. And it's basically 3 or 4 things. We do talk honestly about lower enrollment, but again, it's still ultimately your choice what you want to do with that. we did mention it, yes, I thought it was 350, I've heard 1 million, I think I'm hearing tonight 500,000. So 500,000.
And we're going to 500.
Okay, so that's also part of the fact that the 500,000 is, they're not necessarily taken and forcing teachers to be cut, but it's $500,000 that you could do anything else with. Doesn't mean harm keeping teachers, it means putting an Astrodome out there covering the football field. But my point is, back to what you originally asked, personally, I think life goes on. I think you take all precautions. I don't know if my colleagues would agree with me. You take all normal precautions. You do everything that's being recommended by those from the CDC. I wouldn't necessarily start taking things away from kids, taking things away from teachers who've been planning things for quite some time, unless there is guidance from the professionals that suggested you do that. Then you have to rethink it.
So right now, there is no guidance. Right, there is no guidance that way, there's.
Why don't we say 2 weeks? Why don't we say at the next board meeting, we'll
Leave it alone for now.
If it's any help, they are starting to cancel a lot of the St. Patrick's Day parades.
My son's trip is canceled tomorrow.
What I'm
I'm
thinking-
saying let it be a parental decision.
What I'm thinking is, why don't we take it day by day and in 2 weeks
Revisit it.
revisit it, but let's keep our, phones open and what's going on, if something else comes about, then we can always make a decision.
Right. And I think, Jenny, I think you said this too, let the parents decision. If a parent feels uncomfortable, they can keep their child home.
It's more than a parent's decision, we're allowing our staff to take the children on.
Well, then that's up to the staff too. If a staff member feels uncomfortable and they want to cancel a trip, that's up to the staff member to do that. I'm okay with that too. At this point, I don't want to be the one to shut down something for kids and
So let's just say it's an outdoor trip, like Leah said earlier. If it's an outdoor trip or something, you don't want to cancel an outdoor trip. The kids they're probably safer out in the fresh air.
Right. So that's my vote. I'm leaving it up to the individual teachers and parents.
I want to keep,
For a day-by-day basis, unless we get notification from the CDC that we have to close it down. That's my 2 cents.
I would say in 2 weeks, revisit. Pay attention,
We'll revisit in 2 weeks. I need a motion and second to go into executive session to speak about personnel matters.
And then come back out.
We're going to be coming back out as a public, which is still executive session.
Can I finish the motion? Second, all in favor?
Aye.